Yo, what's up? My name is Patrouski. Welcome to my guide on how to complete Kanto within PokeMMO. This is going to be acting as if it's your first region. I'm going to be doing a quick walkthrough showing you guys what you should do in PokeMMO specifically, what Pokemon you should catch, and things you should keep in mind. First things first, don't pick Charmander. He's probably the worst starter in Kanto in my personal opinion. I think Squirtle ends up being the best because Blastoise ends up getting Shell Smash in this game, which is extremely powerful in the storyline. And then Venusaur having utility with Sleep Powder and other powders with Giga Drain sustainability is quite good. Charmander is the weakest option in my opinion, but it's an offensive powerhouse, or can be, so we're going to see how this will affect my run. Now, when starting the Kanto storyline, you're obviously going to have to go do Oak's parcel, which you go talk to the Pokemart and then go grab that parcel and then bring it down back to him in his lab. This is going to be much less of a storyline guide and much more of a, hey, in PokeMMO specifically, these are things you should watch out for. You can get 2 free potions, one by talking to this lady right here. And then there's a second potion hidden over here behind this fence over in Vermillion City. Should be a Pokeball right here. Now, if you head to the west over here, there is a rival fight. You can choose to do that now or at the end game. I prefer to do it at the end game for the extra XP there. Make sure you always have Pokeballs on you to just, number one, catch Pokemon. And in the case of a shiny Pokemon, it's just always super important to have some on you. If you want to get an encounter counter, like you can see in the top right-hand corner of my screen, I'll have a guide linked below, and it should be helpful. I like recommending that to new players because it lets you know how long it does take to get encounters and helps you keep perspective when the shiny rate is 1 out of 30,000. Another important thing for new players is to check stats and natures of your Pokemon. They're really easily presented in PokeMMO. You can just right-click a Pokemon and see the nature, hover over it to see what stats that actually affects, and then see the IVs. If you ever see a green IV, a 1x31, a 31 IV, that's going to be worth some amount of Pokeyen. Now, it might be 2k, it might be 4k, it could be up to like 30k or something for a 1x31. You always want to keep those as a new player. Any amount of Pokeyen can go a really far away. Even if you can't sell them right now, you can't start selling stuff on the GTL until you reach 4 gym badges. Always hold on to it. You don't always know as a new player, hey, what stats a Pokemon's actually going to need. Like you can see this Sentret is modest. That's a good plus special attack nature. And you have to ask yourself, oh, does Sentret / Furret actually need special attack IV? And that's going to depend on the Pokemon's base stats. And that takes a little bit more game knowledge. So just do the best you can. Generally, good natures to watch out for are things like Adamant and Jolly for physical attackers and things like Modest and Timid for special attackers. But you can even rock these suboptimal ones like Naughty and Lonely for physical attackers or Mild and Rash for special attackers. I recommend battling all of the trainers within Viridian Forest. It's just going to help you get a lot more XP. And that early game Pokeyen is honestly pretty significant, once again, for potions and Pokeballs. If you're running with Charizard like I am, make sure to teach Metal Claw. It's going to help out a lot against the first gym. I'm going to teach it over Scratch because actually keeping Smokescreen for some sort of cheese to lower the opponent's accuracy later on can be effective in certain fights. And it's unlikely a Pokemon is going to resist Dragon Breath at this point in the game. If you went with Squirtle, picking up a Pikachu at this point in the game can be really, really powerful since it can be really good against Misty. You can give it a Thunderstone decently early. Squirtle's going to have the hardest time against Misty. It's probably one of the biggest checkpoints in the game, or for Charmander as well. I'm going to go ahead and personally try to catch this Pikachu. There's a really small chance for it in Viridian Forest, only around a 5% or less, I believe. It's not worth sticking around here, in my opinion, just until you encounter a Pikachu. It's sort of like a if it happens sort of thing. If you want to see damage rolls a little bit more accurately, you can go into your settings, go over to interface, and then go to show battle damage percents to always. I really like showing this in PVM so I can see the exact damage rolls that I may need. So for example, when I tackle the Pikachu here, I can see 5.2% is the damage I did. And I can now hover over the Pikachu and see that it's at 5.3% HP. So if I attack it, there's a decent chance that I might kill it since damage is done in different rolls. And due to that information, it helped me catch that Pikachu a lot easier. All right, here's our Oddish encounter. This is probably the most important Pokemon to catch during the Kanto storyline because number 1, it gives you a Sweet Center. Number 2, it gives you a Sleep Powder user. And then number 3, it also gives you a really good Quiver Dance user. You want to specifically evolve this into Blossom and not a Vileplume. Blossom's going to be way more powerful with Quiver Dance than Vileplume in the storyline. Vileplume's fine, but Blossom is way, way, way better. So go ahead and catch yourself a decent Oddish. It's going to do you wonders in the Kanto storyline. Now, before fighting Brock, I am going to head back and actually pick up a Caterpie. Not really for Brock, really for the fact that Butterfree gets Compound Eyes Sleep Powder. Butterfree's going to be your best catching Pokemon. Metapod's perfect as well. Butterfree's going to be your best catching Pokemon up until probably for the whole story. I'm maybe like a Parasect or a Paris if you want to go for that. But honestly, in my opinion, with how slow Paris is and how like ineffective Paris is against the rest of the storyline, I personally hard prefer going Butterfree. So compoundize Butterfree to help you sleep powder those Abras or Meowths or other Pokemon you want to catch throughout the storyline. It's going to be your best, giving you utility and actual use in the storyline itself, while also giving you a good catching Pokemon. Your first storyline in PokeMMO is always going to be your toughest, so please don't be afraid to go ahead and over-level your Pokemon into oblivion. It honestly might be worth, if you're on that Charmander spree, to go ahead and level him up to 20 against Brock, because it's going to be a pretty tough fight. I'm warning you now. One of the main downsides of starting in Kanto is you don't get your XP share until around Fuchsia City. If you head to the east of Fuchsia City and you have around, I think it's 50 unique Pokemon, if you have them owned OT in your Pokedex, you'll be able to get the XP share item, but that's a pretty long way to be able to finally unlock that XP training ability. It's worth noting that training on trainers is better than training on wild Pokemon, because you do get a small trainer battle bonus in terms of XP, which is pretty significant. When you're getting 50 base XP and getting an extra 25 XP on top, that's an extra 50% XP or so. So rebattling trainers when you're able to, and battling all trainers throughout the storyline, is much better than just running back and forth in wild grass. All right, there is level 12 on our Oddish, which is going to give us Mega Drain, which is super huge. So if you're rocking the Charmander strat, or pretty much any strat, if you want to get an Oddish and then get it to Mega Drain, you should be able to beat Brock for sure. All right, here is the Brock attempt on the Kanto guide. It should be pretty simple once again with Mega Drain access and Charmander. You might want to switch out if they get off some Rock Tombs, because they are going to minus your speed, so switching out to reset your stats can be really significant. So here he's going to throw off a Rock Tomb to lower the speed on my Oddish. I am going to go ahead and switch out really quick over to my Nidoran just to sacrifice it essentially to reset that stat. Right here is a really good situation where I could go my Charmeleon and just KO the Geodude and go for a Metal Claw raise on attack, and that would help the fight. However, I actually, personally, I'm going to go Oddish here. I'm going to choose to go Oddish because I think going that and getting XP on the Oddish in preparation for Misty is more important. I'm probably going to be able to beat this fight no matter what, so making decisions based on the long-term progress of the storyline is going to be better here in my personal opinion, getting that XP there. Onyx then comes in. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to Rock Tomb me. He's already faster than me, so I'm actually super fine here to go ahead and just click Mega Drain and KO him.
Thank you.
So yeah, really easy fight here. I'm going to go ahead and click Mega Drain. If he crit there, it could have been a problem, but that's going to work out pretty fine for me. All the Pokemon against Brock do have Sturdy, so you have to factor that in when playing against him. That's going to be our first gym badge complete in PokeMMO. Probably one of the hardest gym badges throughout the storyline. I'm not going to lie. Your first gym badge of your first region, it's going to be a tough one. Whenever you beat a trainer within PokeMMO or a gym leader, you will get a max obedience level range. So it's not like traditional Pokemon. You can only control Pokemon up to a certain level. So now up to level 26, I can train my Pokemon. If you were to buy a Pokemon off the GTL that was above that level and you try to use them in battle, they would just kill themselves in confusion, or faint themselves rather. That's one of the main ways that PokeMMO balances the storyline run. So you can't just bring your level 100 Pokemon you get from your first region into your second region. Once again, make sure you're always stocked up on Pokeballs before heading outwards in case you run into a shiny. I'm going to go ahead and pick some more up. The odds of a shiny are super slim, but in my opinion, when they're this rare in PokeMMO, it's just worth it. You never want to miss out on one. And then once you head to the east of Pewter City, you will pick up your running shoes in Kanto from, I believe, this scientist. You can't miss them. He will stop you to give them to you. If you ever notice how there's some missing text on my screen, that's from something called custom strings. That's not something that the average player really needs to worry about, but custom strings essentially allows you to skip some of the text in the game and heal a little bit faster at certain Poke Centers, do certain gym fights faster. It really only matters for sort of mid to end game, but you can choose to get them if you so want to. I do have a guide on my channel on custom strings. Quick reminder to battle all of the trainers possible on this route. The XP bonuses are going to be pretty significantly helpful. Even this one, if you can come over and talk to her. This is also the first route in the game where if you want to catch a wild starter Pokemon, you can actually come here, Route 3. You're going to have to buy this item called Lures. You can just buy those in any Pokemart at the moment. You're going to buy a lure, and then you're going to go there and pop the lure, and you'll have like X amount of steps to be able to run back and forth until you encounter a Charmander. Now, they do have a really tough catch rate, so you need a lot of Pokeyen. You need like a good sleep powder Pokemon or some way to like disable it to catch it. It's going to be a tough catch, but you can catch all the starters throughout Kanto during a normal normal playthrough, which is a really fun part about PokeMMO. All right, continuing on from here, once you're at this location, you can actually go buy a Magikarp from this guy if you want to for 500 Pokeyen, or you can just go catch one later on in the Safari Zone or at a ton of different locations. Something interesting is that this is actually one of the only gift Pokemon, or one of the only like tradable Pokemon with a trainer in PokeMMO that isn't shiny locked. So technically this Magikarp actually can be shiny. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it for 500 Pokeyen just for the sake of it. Whether it's worth it for you is kind of up to you. It can also randomly roll, I believe. Yeah, nature and IV. So here we have serious nature, and the IVs aren't that good. Now, in Mount Moon, there's not really any Pokemon you seriously need to catch that are super powerful. There's just like Geodude, Onix, Clefairy in here. None of them are that good, in my opinion, for the storyline. Having an escape rope just in case during this section is really powerful, and I do kind of recommend it. I'm going to go without it, though, for this run. Battling as many trainers in here as possible and taking it slow is kind of encouraged. Sonic Boom is one of those moves to be aware of and watch out for in the early game. That does really significant. I'm pretty sure it's like 30 or 40 or 20 or 40 like base damage. It's always going to do a lot of damage to any Pokemon. In the bottom right corner here, you can pick up a free potion, and to the left, we saw earlier there was a water gun TM. And then to the bottom right over here, there is a rare candy that's probably worth picking up. Now, items like that gotten from the storyline, you can't actually sell. They are untradeable, but honestly, just having a rare candy in the back pocket for storyline runs is super helpful. Probably the only Pokemon worth catching in Mount Moon if you do want to catch something is Paris. So if you want to go ahead and get a spore using Pokemon, it's totally reasonable to do so. Now, there are multiple ladders in Mount Moon which you could take. The first one is going to lead you down into this quarter. This is the best place to catch Paris if you want to catch that. And then it only leads to one other ladder, which will lead you over to a trainer and I believe an important Pokeball over here. Just over to the right, you can collect this Pokeball and be given a Silk Scarf, which is really good in the storyline, honestly, and can be especially good if you have a Fake Out or Payday Meowth. The second ladder, which is located right here before this trainer, if you go down that, you're going to follow over to this other ladder, follow through here, then you're going to have another Pokeball you can get. You don't have to battle this guy. You can actually avoid him by going up here and turning right to get the Pokeball, or you can battle him. It's up to you. Some of these Team Rocket trainers are going to have Sonic Boom Voltorb, so you do want to watch out for that if you're low on HP or under leveled. This is going to give you an Assurance TM. That's honestly going to be like worth it or not, up to you to grab it. Probably not, in my opinion. Okay, we get Fire Fang over Ember. That's honestly pretty nice. That's a pretty big power difference. Not only is it 20, so when you see a move like this, like it's not just a 25 base power difference, it's actually 25 plus stab, and stab is 1.5 times, right? Plus you have a 10% chance to flinch and a 10% chance to burn, unlike Ember, which is just 10% chance to burn. So what you would do is you would take the calculator and you would do 65 times 1.5, right, is the math, I think. So you're actually doing, I think that's right, you're actually doing this much damage versus Ember would be 60. So you're going from 60 base power up to 97. So it's actually a 37.5, right, difference versus just 25. So Fire Fang's way better. All right, next up we have the third ladder, which there is a Pokeball up to the top left and a Hiker trainer down here. The Pokeball contains a Moonstone, which could be pretty helpful, especially if you want to go for a Nidoking at some point, which would be a really powerful Pokemon in the storylines. Heading down the third ladder to finally actually make progress through the mountain. This is going to how you actually get outside of the mountain. You are going to have two big fights coming up here with a Team Rocket member and the person who gives you the fossil. So you do want to be really healthy and have a lot of HP, maybe some potions, and be at a decent level when heading over to this location. Grabbing the Pokeball just north of that ladder is going to give you a revive, which could be helpful in this fight or the upcoming Misty fight. You can skip this trainer if you want to. He is a spinning trainer, so if you walk by him, it's going to give you a lot more chance to dodge him, versus if you run by him, he'll always catch you. This trainer has a Rattata and a Zubat, so it should be pretty easy to take him out, but you might want a potion after this fight. Make sure not to walk too far up, or else you will run into this guy. I am going to go ahead and pop a potion, just a baby potion on my Charmeleon, like so. Give him a little bit more HP. And then walk up into this guy right here. We're going to defeat him. He should have a Voltorb with Sonic Boom, I believe. And then we're also going to go pick our fossil we want for the storyline. I'm going to be honest, the fossil you pick in Kanto really doesn't affect the storyline too much, pretty much at all, because you don't actually get the fossil until you reach Cinnabar Island. And then when you revive the fossil, it's level 5. So getting a level 5 Pokemon at like the 7th gym badge, it's just way too late for that to matter. So generally you end up not using the fossil Pokemon at all anyway. This Dragon Breath should be defeating this trainer. There we go. Honestly, a lot easier than I remember. Level 12. Now we can go ahead and pick our fossil. Once again, it doesn't really matter, honestly, in my personal opinion. However, Kabuto is clearly the cooler choice, so we're going to go with the Dome Fossil because of that. Moving on, we can pick up this Pokeball for a antidote, then head up this ladder, follow along the next ladder, and now we're outside of Mount Moon. And then if you want to, if you're on Squirtle here, you can actually pick up Mega Kick from one of these tutors right here, and putting that Mega Kick on your Squirtle can actually be really good heading into Misty. So I do recommend that. I might actually do the same thing here for my Charmander. If you actually just talk to both of them, they actually updated it, to be fair. These used to be like move tutors where you'd have to specifically pick which Pokemon to put it on at that exact time, but everybody should actually talk to both of these guys because now they just give you TMs. So it's never wrong to just talk to both of these characters. Mega Kick is kind of a risky move, but it can be super strong against Misty on your Charmander or Squirtle. It's going to be a 125 base power move with 75% accuracy. Sorry, 120 base power. And then Mega Punch is 80 base power with 85% accuracy. It's just a lot worse. It's not worth losing that much base power for a little bit more accuracy. You can also grab this Pokeball before heading out of here and get a Mega Drain TM, which once again is super good against Misty. Misty is probably one of the harder trainers, in my opinion, in the early. A lot of the early game trainers in general are just some of the hardest trainers. Now, once you're in Celadon City, you actually have two options. You can do the Nugget Bridge Gauntlet first, or you could do Misty. There's not really a wrong answer. I personally am going to do Nugget Bridge just up until the point that I can get my Oddish into a Gloom. But to be fair, I think there actually is a rival fight right here. So the question becomes, which do I want to do first? I think doing the rival fight first is fine because I'm going to be able to have access to a grass type Pokemon to be able to counter the water type Pokemon, the Squirtle that he picked. And he should be leading with his Squirtle here / Wartortle, I believe. There's the Abra lead. Okay, he should always lead Abra. Wartortle or Squirtle should be in the back then. I believe this Abra should, number one, be really weak, and number two, not have many moves aside from teleports. You can pretty much always use a setup move against it. I'm going to go ahead and get a growth up to raise my attack and special attack. It's going to teleport out over to a different Pokemon, over to the Pidgey. That can hit me for super effective, but I'm honestly not too afraid of it. I can go ahead and use Acid with my growth. Gust is going to do 29% damage to me, which is honestly not that bad. Acid's going to do 70% to the Pidgey. I can always potion it after killing it as well. And then Wartortle comes in to follow up, and it shouldn't be able to kill me here, I don't think. So I can get off a Razor Leaf, and as long as the 95% accuracy move hits, I should be able to one-shot. Just kidding, two-shot the Wartortle. This is a pretty safe and reasonable point to use a potion here as well, which I'm going to go ahead and do. With Wartortle dead, it brings my Oddish over to level 20 and gives us access to Giga Drain, which I definitely want to take over Razor Leaf. I'm really trying to get to level 21 here, and then what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to offer someone in trade chat in-game to buy a Sunstone from them. With Gary defeated, we can now take on the rest of the Golden Nugget Gauntlet, which is just a bunch of trainers back to back, or go ahead and go do Misty. But once again, I want to get my Blossom before doing Misty. Nugget Bridge mostly consists of a ton of bug-type Pokemon. All right, there's level 21 and the Gloom evolution on my Oddish. And I also have around 5,600 Pokeyen, so I'm going to offer to buy a Sunstone in trade chat. What I'll do is go ahead and check what they sell for on the GTL and just offer someone to pay for it for that exact price, probably around 3K. So I'm going to go to trade chat. I'm going to type in trade chat. I'm going to say, hey, willing to buy Sunstone at, what city is this? Like Cerulean City. Willing to buy Sunstone, Cerulean City, Channel 4, 3K Pokeyen. Okay, it's actually been a really long time since I've been in this position, but you actually can't type in trade chat until you have 2 gym badges. So the only way you can get a Sunstone at this point is by either asking a friend that you may know just outside of the game, unfortunately, or finding some other way to communicate. You could check normal chat and try to talk to people, but honestly, you might have to just freeball this and then wait to get a Sunstone at gym badge number 4 or after gym badge number 2 and buy one from trade chat that way. Now, I obviously have streamer privilege. I'm going to go ahead and probably buy one from my boy Simkiller here. So shout outs to him for doing this trade. Super appreciated. And I can go ahead and use that to evolve my Gloom into a Blossom at at level 21. So super early game, getting a ridiculously powerful Pokemon. Quiver Dance is just one of the most powerful moves in Pokemon, let alone during these storyline runs. Now, unfortunately, you don't get Quiver Dance immediately, so there's 2 things you can do. You can, number 1, wait until level 39 to get Quiver Dance, which is a pretty long time, or once you unlock 4 gym badges, you can buy Heart Scales and relearn Quiver Dance from any NPC within a PC. So we can go to any PC, and there's an NPC over here, I believe, with gray hair. You can talk to him, and he'll let you relearn moves with Heart Scales once you have, I think, 4 gym badges, which you need to unlock the GTL anyway. Growth plus Giga Drain should be good enough for now. I'm going to go ahead and go Stomp Misty. All right, there we go. Misty complete. That's going to give us our second gym badge and a max obedience of level 32. All right, here's the Metapod evolution into a Butterfree right before this little patch of grass, which is super important because this is where you get Abra, and having a teleport Pokemon is really nice during the storyline. Being able to teleport back to a PC in sticky situations and sticky locations is super, super helpful. Although I don't have Sleep Powder on it yet, unfortunately. I'll get to level 12 for that, so that's a little more awkward. Now, thankfully, if your Butterfree is underleveled like mine was, you can actually get it up to level 12 really, really easily by just killing Pokemon on this route. Most Pokemon here are actually weak to the Gust that you have access to, like the Butterfrees and the Oddishes. This patch of grass is also the final route where you can find the Kanto starters. The first one, Bulbasaur, is actually in Viridian Forest, so if you care about that, make sure to get it there, but it's kind of tough to have the Pokeyen for lures and the Pokeballs to enough Pokeyen to be able to get Pokeballs and lures to catch Bulbasaur at that point. It's probably the toughest one to get in the early game. I'm going to heal up really quick, go buy some lures from the Pokemart, and then go for an Abra and a Squirtle catch. You can just buy lures from the Pokemarts like this if you scroll all the way down. They're kind of like reverse repels. They give you a higher chance for encounters, and they give you lore exclusive encounters. I'm going to buy 2 for the time being because I don't want to spend too much Pokeyen on them if possible. We're back over at this route at Route 24. I'm going to go ahead and pop a lore, run back and forth. You could also sell that nugget that you got by completing Nugget Bridge to get some extra lures and Pokeballs. All right, here is our first 31 as well. This is a good example. I can show you guys this. 31 IV Pokemon are always worth keeping around. You could always sell these for some amount of Pokeyen. I do have a full guide on how to price check Pokemon, but as a quick TLDR, I would show you how to price check this. The way you'd price check something like this is you would look up the egg group. So you would do egg group bug, you would do male, the gender is important, then you would do 31 special defense IV, search, and then do lowest price. So this would easily sell for around 3,500 Pokeyen. The reason people buy stuff like this, people see this and think, why would someone want to buy a Caterpie? It's because you can take this male Caterpie or Kakuna and breed it with something like a female Larvesta, which is obviously a much more powerful Pokemon of Volcarona. You can always take Pokemon within the same egg group, breed them, carry over the IVs to stronger Pokemon, and that's how you get that use out of them. I'm also at the point where I'm trying to catch stuff just for Pokedex, because having stuff caught, especially for that, once again, that XP share we talked about earlier, having 15 seen Pokemon, I think it's owned Pokemon, having 50 seen Pokemon in your Pokedex is crucial for that. Alrighty, there is the Squirtle on the second lure. Glad we got that. So my strat here is going to be go ahead and click Sleep Powder on him and then go ahead and kill this Bellsprout. Did a double battle, which wild double battles can happen because of lures. All right, with Squirtle at around 15% HP and asleep, we're going to throw a Pokeball and hopefully get him within these 7 Pokeballs or so. Let's see. Close. All right, there we go. Took around 3 or 4 Pokeballs. We caught our Squirtle, and now we have 2 of the starters in one playthrough. A benefit of catching them in the wild as well is that you can actually randomly roll their stats. So, like, this Squirtle being naive and having these IVs is much better stat-wise than this Charmeleon just being neutral IVs and a neutral nature. With more lore steps left, I'm going to go ahead and use the rest of them to do some more encounters. I was able to get another double battle with an Abra. I'm going to Sleep Powder this and try to Pokeball, and there's a decent chance I can catch this here. Perfect. So now we have our Squirtle, our Butterfree, our Abra, our Blossom, a lot of really powerful storyline Pokemon, really good IVs, not the best nature, but that'll do. All right, but now that I have the second gym badge and Misty defeated, and I defeated my rival fight up here, there's still 2 things to do. I want to go talk to Bill, who's over to this eastern route, and I have to go get the SSN ticket from him. And then I also do want to go catch a Meowth before leaving this location, because Payday picked up Meowths are super helpful and will give you a little bit of extra Pokeyen doing any storyline. Also, now that I have access to my Teleport Abra, I'm going to go ahead and go Keybind that. The way you do that is by going to a Pokemon that knows the move, going over to Hotkey Slot, and then selecting it. I'm actually going to do the same with my Sweet Scent, even though I'm probably not going to be using this for the time being, but technically I could kind of Shiny Hunt at this point, having access to Sweet Scent and Teleport. All right, there is our Meowth catch. Let's go ahead and check the stats. This will be a really powerful Pokemon for our storyline. Timid is honestly, it's 31 attack, which is nice, but Timid is not nice. But it could be worse. Honestly, I'll take it. I'll use it. Is it pickup or technician pickup? Either way is honestly perfect. I'm going to teleport back to the PC with our new Teleport Abra, heal up, and then make our way over to Route 25 and make our way over to Bill's PC. Abra into Alakazam is another Pokemon that you can get into extremely high base stats very early on. Abra evolves into Kadabra at level 16, and then you just need to coordinate a trade to be able to evolve Alakazam. Trade evolutions are probably one of the most powerful things in PokeMMO, not if you die to 100% damage strength though. But trade evolutions are really powerful in PokeMMO because you can do them super easily. You don't have to fumble around with trade link cables like you had to do back in original Pokemon Fire Red. All right, after battling some trainers by leading with our Abra and then switching out to our other Pokemon, here is our evolution up to Kadabra. This is going to bring a really, really big base stat difference. So, for example, Abra has 105 base special attack, 90 speed, whereas Kadabra has 105 and 120. Also some increased defenses. We're also going to go really quickly trade Evo this with someone in chat and get an Alakazam here, which will be another huge power increase. All right, shout out to K Brito for helping me with the trade Evo. I really appreciate that, dude. There we go. We're gonna get ourselves a quick Alakazam. Fun little tip, the same way he did that, that was a perfect way to do a trade evolution. When you're trade evoing with someone, you want to usually cancel the evolution on your side and then trade it back to them so that they can see the evolution on their side. It's just a nice little thing to keep in mind. Also, it just speeds up the trade process a little bit. So now we have an Alakazam, right, at 2 gym badges. This is a powerful Pokemon. Usually growing up, you couldn't do this because it was a lot more difficult to actually get these trade Evo Pokemon. Now, I always say, like, one of the best parts about Pokemon, in my opinion, is how cool it is that you could just actually play with if your favorite Pokemon growing up was Alakazam, was Gengar, was Golem, you were shit out of luck and you probably couldn't play with them. But in Pokemon, you can very easily play with your favorite mons. Quick reminder, I do recommend fighting all of the trainers on each route to get the most amount of XP to give yourself the easiest time with the gyms. That's what I did on this route, and now we did make our way over to Bill. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to him. He's the Clefairy here. We're going to fix him. He's accidentally turned himself into a Clefairy. We're going to talk to him. We're going to go interact with the PC. We're going to turn him back into a human and kind of just leave the Clefairy locked in there for the rest of the time. We're going to unlock the ability to have Bill's PC, and then we're going to go talk to him and get our SSN ticket that should probably be in my inventory. After that, yep, there it is, the SS ticket. Obviously, my dialogue was skipped due to custom strings, but you get the gist. Alrighty, with that taken care of, we can now actually progress out of Cerulean City. There's a lot of things to do in Cerulean City. It's kind of funny how many things there are to do. I think you do have to go ahead and battle this Team Rocket member really quick. Alright, after defeating that Team Rocket trainer, they will disappear from Cerulean City. Then you want to head down this way. And then the only way you can head from this direction is going to be south, since this is blocked off by cut and we still don't have access to that yet. We will be getting that pretty soon. We're going to pass one of the daycares here. Now, you can't breed at this daycare center. You could put a Pokemon in here to level it up passively while you kind of do this grind. If you walk in here, they're going to require a cup of tea. You want to head down to the underground, cross over here, just go the whole way through the tunnel. Leaving that tunnel and underground path is going to bring you to Route 6, and we're making our way over to Vermillion City, which is going to be the 3rd gym. There are some trainers on this route which you can battle right now or just come back and battle after you've healed. I think there is only like there might be one trainer. You can walk around this trainer by going the rest. There might be, I think there's one trainer or 2 trainers you technically have to fight. I think it's 1. You can dodge by doing this. You have to fight at least 1 trainer on this route. Once we are in Vermillion, you probably want to go ahead and go heal up really quick. And then after, whenever you're ready, whenever you're prepared, we can make our way over to the SSN, which is just going to be found along this dock. Now, I will say the SSN probably is one of the hardest fights in the storyline. The rival fight on the SSN specifically is just really, really tough. So it's not a bad idea to go ahead and pick up some super potions, maybe even some antidotes, paralyze heals, or whatever you may need for a big fight. Now, before hopping on the SSN, there is a Pokeball over here if you want to come grab it for a free awakening. And I want to go ahead and actually show you guys a quick strat that I'm going to do. If you followed my guide, you might be able to do the same exact thing. But if you have access to Sweet Scent plus a Squirtle with Bubble or some sort of AoE move, you can actually come over and start doing this. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this here in a quick sec. Over here in Diglett Cave, you can actually use Sweet Scent and get ×3 hordes of Diglett. So you can come over here and start actually XP training via hordes to some extent. And Bubble is an AoE move. Now, I might not be able to kill all of these, honestly, with 1 Bubble. So we're going to see what this looks like. It's good to go test stuff like this whenever you gain access to possible hordes, because horde training is just so much faster than single encounter, XP training, EV training, whatever you're doing. I just got double accuracy lowered though, so this might miss, but we're going to be able to 2-shot these Digletts now with Bubble, which is honestly pretty nice. Now, is it worth to sit here and do this training? Probably not for a long period of time, but if you need a few more levels or a little bit more XP to be able to beat Gary, it might be worth it. Unfortunately, my stats are a little too low on my Squirtle to actually effectively use that as an XP training spot at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and just go battle all the trainers on this route over to the east, route 11, then go back to the Diglett spot for a little bit and then go do the SSN. All right, here's the evolution from Squirtle into Wartortle, which is a really nice stat power increase. Man, this thing has been not doing enough damage. Hopefully this will get me closer to Diglett grinding. Over in this Pokeball, you can pick up a magnet on Route 11, which is a really good item if you have something like a Magnezone or some sort of electric type attacking Pokemon. Those 20% boosting items are probably some of the best to casually pick up during the storyline. All right, now that my Wartortle is level 21, I can actually come over to Diglett's and do the bubble training I was talking about, so I can show you guys what that would look like, and then also show you how much XP I'll be getting from each ×3 horde. So if I go ahead and I click bubble here, it'll be an AoE move. We were nicely able to one-shot all of them here. I don't think we're actually able to consistently one-shot them all the time, but we'll absolutely take that. I got a ton of XP there, up to level 22. For whatever reason in chat, it didn't tell me the amount of XP that I gained, and I didn't keep track of it, so we'll keep track of it here. We're at 323 XP and need 1200 for the next level. Let's try it again. Okay, going from 323 XP up to 738. So we got 500 XP for doing that ×3 horde in one battle. Versus when we were battling the trainers over to the east, we would get like 150 XP per Pokemon killed. That is significant. That is way faster. So even doing early game hordes like this, if you have the setup, it's just not the easiest thing to get set up. But if you have access to this, people always ask me what's the best way to XP train early game. This is really the best. If you can do this and have like prepare ahead of time, this is the best way. This is really solid. Another huge benefit to horde training here at the Digletts is that I'm specifically getting a ton of speed EVs on my Wartortle, which is actually allowing me to then outspeed the Digletts and farm them more efficiently. I'm gonna take a quick break here from XP training my Wartortle to actually go grab the bicycle really quick. This is probably one of the most important things you can do in your Kanto run. You want to head over to this house in Vermillion City, and if you talk to this guy, I believe you should hear his stories essentially, and you'll get a bike voucher. Now you want to take that bike voucher. You have to run back up north and run back up to that underground path, run all the way back to Celadon City, but it is worth doing, in my opinion, to be able to go get the bike to be a lot faster for the rest of the storyline. You make your way back to this building, make your way back to the underground path, and fully travel all the way through it. Now, I'm going to purposefully do something. I'm going to purposefully not enter the PC here in Celadon City, and you'll see why in a split second. If you have access to a teleport Pokemon, you probably want to do the same. So I'm going to head over here. We're going to head over to the bike store, which is right over, I believe, to the west over here in Celadon City. Southwest, down here. Not go in the PC. It's very important you don't go in the PC. We're going to go talk to these guys. Go talk to this guy at the register. And he should, I believe, give us a bicycle for our voucher. We're going to keybind that over to F1. And now that we didn't go in the PC, now I can click teleport and teleport back to Vermillion and save myself a little bit of a trek. And now we have our bicycle. And now we are super fast and I can go back to XP training Wartortle. Now I have the ability to learn Rain Dance here on my Wartortle. And usually I would go it over Bubble. But since I'm using Bubble to train at the moment, it makes it a little more awkward. But I do really like having access to Rain Dance on this Pokemon. I think this is going to be a rare situation where I might actually pass on Rain. I really do like Weather Control, though. I think I actually like the Weather Control more than the Rapid Spin, especially since I'm getting Speed EVs by specifically training on Diglett. So I'm going to make the hard decision there to... You're never going to see, like, Stealth Rocks or Hazards set up by NPCs, so that effect of Rapid Spin is never going to pop up. You're really doing it for the speed boost, but I think I'd rather do the Speed EVs, and then have Rain Dance to boost powers. Then also Rain Dance is also just nice for my Blossom, since it's one of its only weaknesses is going to be fire. Being able to weaken that one weakness it has is really relevant. All right, this Diglett horde is going to get me level 30, which is going to give me access to Aquatail, and then I actually am going to teach Aquatail probably over Bubble, I think, and then just stop training. I think that's going to be the play. We're going to stop EV training or XP training at Diglett's at level 30. We get an energy root there, which is honestly nice. You do have a chance of picking up items as well while doing wild battles. So now that I have enough XP, we can actually finally continue onward to the SSN. All right, time to tackle the SSN. You want to take the most western part of the dock. Go ahead and head out here. walk into the boat, and there will be a rival battle once you like loop fully around, which I might go ahead and do since I kind of am already ready for it. Now, my rival did pick up Squirtle, I believe, since I went with Charmander. So I'm probably going to lead this fight with Blossom. This is where the rival fight's going to be. I've been training a lot for this, so I'm honestly down to go ahead and just go lead into him. He might be leading Kadabra, to be fair, as opposed to his starter Pokemon. We'll have to see. Raticate is the lead. I don't have access to Quiver Dance yet. I probably just go for a growth here. Level 22. I'm a little scared he might have Quick Attack or Sucker Punch, and it might be a huge problem. Honestly, that damage is a lot less than I expected, so that's really good news for me. Being Bold Nature here probably helps a lot. I'm going to go for a growth into a Giga Drain, try to do a ton of damage, and take out my rival here. Hopefully no flinch here. Thankfully no flinch. A flinch there would have been detrimental. But now we get a huge hit, plus a nice heal. We can sweep through this fight probably. Now, it is important to keep in mind, in 2024, there was a recent update in Pokemon that only allows you to use 4 items in big battles, so that is something you should have to plan around. Like, I'm going to go ahead and use a Super Potion to heal up my Blossom here, since I am growthed up. I want to make sure I live an attack from this Kadabra, and then can return with a Giga Drain. There's a Nightshade. That was a perfect situational play for me. We Giga Drain and one-shot the Kadabra, allowing myself to fully heal back up, or heal up a ton, heading into the final Pokemon being a Wartortle. So that Super Potion allowed me to just totally sweep this guy's team with just one Pokemon being Blossom. And I don't even have access to Quiver Dance yet. There's the full HP heal. There's the rival fight defeated on the SSN, which can be a huge stopgap for a lot of storyline runs. Just make sure to train appropriately for it. You want to head in, you want to talk to the captain. He's going to give you access to the HM cut, and now we can do a lot more in the storyline. I usually teach my cut over to Meowth, since this Pokemon doesn't really need access to a ton of moves. Okay, now that we have access to cut, we can do a couple different things. We can go back north and go east of Vermillion City, or we can actually go ahead and go get Flash. Now, you technically don't need the Flash HM. I'm going to go ahead and do it just to show most players what they probably should do, but you technically can follow a guide and get through Rock Tunnel without Flash. But to get Flash, you want to go ahead and go all the way through Diglett Cave. Now, once out the other end of Diglett Cave, you can come south. You're back over sort of around that Vermillion City / Pewter City zone. You can then cut this tree that you couldn't cut previously, make your way down south some more, make your way down here, and then come talk to this scientist. And if you have, I think, like 10 Pokemon, at least 10. Yeah, if you have 10 different Pokemon caught OT or owned, I think, in your Pokedex, you can then get access to the HM Flash. And if you head further south, you can come grab this quick Pokeball and get a Sharp Beak, which will increase flying type attacks by 20%, and then another Pokeball, which is a Paralyze Heal. And then if you don't enter any more PCs or do anything else, you can actually click Teleport. Once again, this is why I love Teleport so much. When you don't have access to Fly yet, Teleport saves you so much fun. That saved me a whole nother trip through Diglett Cave. All right, now that we have access to Flash and Cut, we can come do Surge. You technically don't need access to Flash. You can do a lot of the things in the Kanto storyline kind of in any order, but if you're following along, you'll want to follow this guide, obviously. Now, you have to find which trash can has the trash. There's not really much of a strategy to this, to my understanding. You kind of just randomly look around and hope to get a match. Make sure whenever heading into a big fight like this, you take every single advantage you can. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and put a Sharp Beak onto my Butterfree. Even though it's probably not going to be relevant, having that boosted gust damage might pop up. I can also put Silk Scarf on my Charmeleon just in case I need to go for a big Mega Kick at some point. All right, finally time to take on my Lieutenant Surge fight. This is probably the fight that I have the most research into, since this was a huge fight in my Nuzlocke and probably just one of the hardest fights. Honestly, like, all 3 of the first gyms are just really, really tough, hilariously, in Kanto. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Now, this Raichu does have Grass Knot, so please be aware of that if you're doing this run. Keep that in mind. Watch out for that. If you have a Golem or something like that at this point, it can do a lot of damage. It can be super detrimental. I'm going to go ahead and be able to set up growths against it pretty effectively, though. And then maybe go for set up a few growths and either go for a potion or just go for a big Giga Drain. And this fight should be pretty easy. A lot of my Twitch chat is doubting me, doesn't think I could beat this on the first try, but as you guys can see, it's gonna be a super easy one. Spidget is literally praying for crits as I speak, but a quick Giga Drain here. I could honestly boost up one more time. Kind of greedy. I think going for Giga here, he's probably gonna be faster. I think going for Giga here is the safer play, and I'm gonna make that play. We're gonna go for the Giga, do 93.3% to Raichu, heal up a ton, and be in a really good position for the rest of this fight. Take a little bit of chip and then take out the Raichu in response. Next Pokemon coming in is Magnemite, which is not, I'm not going to be able to hit for very hard with my Giga Drain, but it's still my best thing. Just kidding, 88% damage after this many growths. This is why I really like seeing those battle damage percents in chat. I talked about how to get those to show earlier. I really prefer that to see exact numbers. We're going to Giga Drain spam this guy. Third Pokemon is Voltorb, which I'm just going to brainlessly click Giga Drain on once again, only doing 8.5% damage to me with Shockwave, and me doing 100% damage in return. Final Pokemon being Elekid. This thing can have access to a ton of different, like Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Elemental Punches, plus Brick Break. It can kind of be a pain, but we're just going to one-shot it with our beautiful Blossom. What the Sigma? There it is. Lieutenant Surge defeated. Level 37 max obedience cap and 3 gym badges acquired. Alrighty, now we have our bike, we have access to Flash, and we have 3 gym badges. We can head back up north and make our way back to Vermillion City and then actually head east from that direction. So make your way back through the underground path, pop out the other end just like so, and then you want to bike up northeast, and we are going to make our way over to, I believe, Rock Tunnel, and then eventually Lavender Town. We're going to fight the trainers on this route here. Once again, as always, I do recommend fighting every single trainer on each route to maximize your Pokeyen and your XP. I'm up to almost 20,000 Pokeyen now, which is super nice at this point. Once you beat all the trainers on this route, you can head east and make your way over here. If you follow this water path, you'll make your way down to the power plant, but we can't do that right now without access to Surf. You want to head inside this PC to make sure you log this as your new teleport location. And right here is Rock Tunnel. You want to probably go ahead and battle this trainer really quick to clear that up. Now make sure you teach one of your Pokemon Flash. We can go ahead and head into Rock Tunnel and make our way through it. I'm probably going to put it on Meowth once again. Actually, I do want to keep access to Taunt, so I'm going to put it on over Harden on my Butterfree. You want to make your way into Rock Tunnel, click on your Pokemon with Flash, go ahead and use it. It's going to illuminate the room, and now we can make our way through Rock Tunnel. There are going to be a lot of trainers you have to fight in here, so that's something to keep in mind. You might want to keep repels on you to get through this location a little faster and keep your Pokemon healthier, or you can battle a wild Pokemon for XP. It's really up to you. Upon entering the cave, if you head all the way east, you can grab this Pokeball, but it only gives you a repel. Now you can use that in the cave here if you want. It's up to you whether you want to go grab it or not, and you do have to battle this scientist heading south in the middle here. After defeating the scientist, you're forced to head east as it's the only direction you can go, and then head north and go up this ladder. Down from the ladder, you need to go south and then west and then battle a trainer right here. After defeating the trainer, you want to head west. And if you keep heading all the way west, you can pick up this Pokeball, which is a revive, which is pretty nice to freely pick up. And then you do have to head north in this middle section. After defeating the Girl Scout, you want to head north and east and then north once again. Be forced to battle this. You might actually be able to. Yeah, you can get around that guy if you want to by heading the most eastern part. But I'm going to go ahead and battle him for the XP personally. Once you're past that scientist, you just have to go ahead and continue heading east and then head north. It's really the only direction you can go, but then you are at a crossroads here in which you can head north and fight this trainer or head west and fight this trainer. But either way, no matter which trainer you fight, they do both lead to the same ladder, or you can fight both. But eventually you'll end up heading through this ladder, and then you have to go south. And you encounter a similar situation where you could head further south and fight this guy to go east, or just go east earlier on and fight this guy. It shouldn't really matter which one you go to. After defeating whichever hiker you would like, you want to just go ahead and continue southeast-ish. There's a Pokeball right here in the southeast corner that contains a Hardstone, which is one of those 20% boosting items that will boost your rock-type moves by 20%. Then you head down the only ladder possible, continue heading west. This is where things branch off a little more, but you could head north and it's a dead end with Rock Smash Rocks, or south and it's also a dead end. The only way to actually continue making progress through the cave is by heading west and battling this trainer. And then south from this Girl Scout trainer is just going to lead you to a dead end with a trainer you have to fight, so just don't go that way, just continue north. If you head straight north from that intersection, you'll find a Max Ether, which is honestly kind of nice. And then once you make your way back to the intersection, you will have to battle this hiker trainer. After defeating this hiker, you need to head north. There's a ladder up here. There's also a scientist trainer, which you can actually dodge carefully if you can choose to do so. Then you want to head back into this room. I believe this is the final room. I'm taking quite a hit on my Pokemon here, as are you guys most likely, but we have a little bit further to go. We're almost done. Kanto is really full of a ton of gauntlets like this, / dungeons is kind of what we call them. There's a lot of times where you're going to have to beat a ton of trainers in a row without having easy access to a PC to be able to heal. After defeating both these trainers, you want to continue heading south and then west, as it's the only direction you can go. And I believe we have like one more trainer to fight here, and then I think we're out of the cave around this corner or very, very soon. With this trainer defeated, you want to head west some more and kind of make your way slowly waddling southwest. And then once you see this sign, it means you're almost in the clear. There you go. We can finally make our way out of Rock Tunnel. Now, I strongly recommend avoiding these trainers for the time being. It's avoiding this guy. You want to just safely make your way down to Lavender. You don't want to wipe out at one of those trainers on the way to Lavender Town. That is a nightmare situation. And now you can fully heal up and go deal with those trainers if you want to and kind of reestablish yourself in Lavender Town. Also, at this point, I'm going to start battling all the trainers with my Alakazams and my Vermillion because I want to specifically get XP on these Pokemon, because fighting Erica with Wartortle and Blossom is going to be a nightmare. Erica has a lot of 4 times resistances to grass type attacks, which is really tough to push through. And then Blastoise is obviously weak to all other grass type attacks. So leveling up your Pokemon that can actually properly take on your next gym leader is pretty obvious, but an important little reminder. Now, the most important tip I've put out on this guide so far, in the Lavender Town Pokemart, you can pick yourself up some teddy ears, which is actually, fun fact, the most efficient use of your Pokeyen in PokeMMO possible. All right, so once you're in Lavender Town, there's a couple things you can do. You can either go into Lavender Tower and go catch yourself a Ghastly if you want to do that. I'm not really a huge fan of Gengar. It's fine in the storylines. You can do that if you want to. You can go south and sort of mess with the area down here. We'll go down there later, I believe, to pick up a fishing rod. But what I'm going to do first things first is head to the left, take care of every single trainer, battle every single trainer on this route, and then we're going to make our way over to Celadon City. And then over there, you can pick up Hot Tea and actually unlock the ability to travel through all of the guard places normally, all the passageways normally. We'll get to that when we get to that. Let's just first battle through all the trainers on this route. With all the trainers defeated, you want to head up to this location. We actually can't make our way through here yet because the guard is still thirsty for some tea. So you do have to go through this underground path, of course. Head your way over left, and we'll make our way over to Celadon City. Heading outside of this building, we'll make our way to the Undercity of Celadon. Want to head up here. I'm going to walk inside the PC immediately. Now, Team Rocket is around the city, so we do have to go over to the casino and beat them out of it. But first things first, where I'm going to go pick up 2 things, okay? There's a couple houses down here that are useful. Firstly, there's this one, which you can talk to this guy, and I think he will give you the casino case. It's like the coin case to actually store coins from the Celadon City Mart. And then from here, we want to head over to get our Eevee from the Kanto storyline, as well as go get the tea. So if you loop around back behind the PC, I'm sure all of you guys have done this before. If you've played Fire Red or Leaf Green at all, you can pick up a free ether here, head in here, head up all of these stairs, and we'll make our way up to the Eevee location first, and we'll head back through the front door to pick up the hot tea. There's the Eevee. The Eevee, I believe, is just going to be 15 IVs across and neutral nature, so it's not actually that good. You can teleport from the top of this roof, which is super nice. Make sure you visit the Celadon City PC before you do that. Otherwise, that's going to cost you some time heading back to it. Now we want to head inside this building from the front door, which you just walk into right here. There should be an old lady over here, and I believe she will give you some hot tea. Obe tea, of course. Exactly what your guys' text will look like. And then we can go travel to any of the little in-between locations between each of the cities. We'll talk to the guard. He'll stop us, and we'll basically give him the tea. And now all of the guards are no longer thirsty, and they'll let us pass. Now, before doing anything else, we can also now go get the Fly HM. So I'm going to go ahead and come over to the left of Celadon, come cut this tree. You do have to do, I believe, a double battle here. You might be able to skip it. Let's see. Yeah, you actually can if you don't want to do it. So we can head over here, come talk to this NPC in this building, and she will give you access to the HM Fly, which is a really big deal. So now we can easily traverse the storyline. I have to go get a Fly Pokemon, though. Okay, hilariously, I don't own a single Pokemon that has access to Fly, so we're going to have to go catch one. A quick Pidgey will do perfectly. There's our Pidgey caught. Let's check the IVs. Not that great, but not too shabby either. That'll work for our flying Pokemon. Once you have access to Fly, make sure to go ahead and keybind it. That's always important to do. Well, firstly, teach it to your Pokemon, and then go ahead and keybind it. Let's put it over Whirlwind. Sure, keybind it just like we talked about earlier. And now we have one of two options. We could go ahead and do the game corner dungeon, which is sort of going through and battling all those guys, or we could go ahead and go do the gym leader. And I'm going to go ahead and choose to do the gym leader first. I think we're strong enough with our Alakazam having access to Psyshock. So let's just cut through here and go take care of Erica. Oh, I got rid of my cut Pokemon. Let's teach cut to a new Pokemon as well. Keep in mind, in PokeMMO, you actually can teach TMs over HMs. In traditional games, if you taught a Pokemon an HM, they had that HM for life. But thankfully, you can teach TMs over HMs, but you can't teach HMs over HMs. So if you want to change an HM, you do have to teach a TM or a different move over it and then change it back, which you can actually do with some really cheap TMs. There are some really, really cheap TMs, like Safeguard or something like that, that you can pay like 2K essentially to teach a different Pokemon a different HM. Let's go ahead and get into our Erica gym. Now, Erica can be really, really tough for those people who are, if you're relying too much on Blossom or relying too much on the Bulbasaur Evo line, you're going to have a really tough time against Erica. You might want to consider picking up an Arcanine/Growlithe over on that route to the left of Lavender Tower. You can cut in between that little grass patch there and pick up a Growlithe. But thankfully, with the power of Alakazam and a lot of these also having Poison type, we're able to one-shot most of these Pokemon. All right, here is our Erica fight. Let's see how this goes. What's her lead Pokemon? I know she has Sunflora at some point, I believe. Blossom is the lead. We're just going to Psyshock into this. Psyshock does 46.5% damage. This thing is pretty tanky. Goes for a natural gift, doing 51% in return. So I'm actually not able to 2-hit KO here. Since I can't two-shot this thing and it's going to kill me in return, it's better that I just go ahead and make a swap over to like Charmeleon. However, this is where sack swaps come into play. Sack swaps are super important in the storyline, in my opinion. I know that Butterfree being level 15 isn't really going to be able to provide much value against this boss fight or this gym leader fight. So it's better that I just go ahead and switch it in, essentially sacrifice it, maybe get off a Gust or something like in return, and then allow myself to safely bring in my Charmeleon at 100% HP as opposed to having to switch it in. Sacrifice swaps are really important in the storyline. Always make sure to take advantage of them. Tangela gets switched in, being a defensive wall. Fire Fang doing 35% damage. This thing might have access to Ancient Power or just Earth Power. I think Ancient Power is a good crit there. We'll take it. A flinch chance, 10%. There's the Ancient Power, doing 76%, not KOing me. If it gets the stat boost, it might outspeed me. Don't believe it did, so we're going to return with a Fire Fang and take it out. All right, I believe I am in Blaze range here, which is actually going to increase the power of my attack. So we're going to go for a Fire Fang, doing 57% over to the Vileplume. We can finish this off with our Alakazam that we had out earlier. Alakazam is going to finish off the Vileplume. Probably going to bring in Blossom after, which I'll probably make a switch out to once again. Now, since I know that this thing kills me, I'm going to go to make a switch over to Pidgey and just sacrifice this Pokemon once again. Make a switch over to probably Blossom and kind of just do the 1v1. Now, with Blossom out, I could go ahead and click Acid, and I'm mostly just trying to chip this thing down enough to be able to get it in range of Alakazam and let Alakazam sweep the rest of this fight, but they're going to go ahead and bring in Victory Bell. I get a crit on the Acid. It still does barely any damage. I'm going to go ahead and set up some growths here, since that's really all I can do, and it's going to outspeed me, do 62%. It's possible I lose this fight. That's how tough that these fights get. Wow. It's going to outspeed and KO me here. I just go ahead and click Acid. I really do want some more chip on the Blossom here if possible. I'm going to bring in my Alakazam, go for a Psyshock here, which should one-shot the Victory Bell, I'm pretty certain of. Yep, there that goes, but it's still going to kill my Blossom in return. So if I can outspeed with my Wartortle and hit it with a bite or something, then it's worth it. But this thing's pretty freaking tanky. I could go for Recover, but I think it does 51 or something. I think my best play is to always just switch Psyshock here. I do 51%. I could always revive this thing with a revive if I really don't want to lose this fight, but we'll see. Giga Train comes out doing 38%, which isn't enough to kill me. So that's going to give us the win for this fight, is the AI making a slightly suboptimal move. I think that should kill the Blossom or put it super low. It lives at 1% HP. Does my Wartortle outspeed becomes the question. I think it does, specifically due to all the speed EVs we got earlier from the Diglets. I have 68 speed. I'm 58 speed base stat. I think Blossom is somewhere around 50 base stat speed, so I'm pretty certain this Wartortle is going to go ahead and outspeed. We're going to click Bite. We're also one level up. There we go. And that's going to take out Erica. GG's. Very close fight for someone with over 8,000 hours in this game, increasing our max obedience up to level 46. But now we can move on back over to the casino. So you want to head inside the casino. You want to head back to this back right area. Talk to this guy. He's going to freak out and sort of panic. You will have to fight him. You're going to want to interact with this poster after this fight. Interact with the Team Rocket poster like so. These stairs will now appear, and we can make our way down here. Alright, for the fastest way through this location, we're going to go ahead and go immediately down these stairs and then loop around. You can actually dodge this trainer if you walk appropriately, then make our way over here and go straight down. Head to the left, come over to this little puzzle, and then take the left arrow. Then step down and take this arrow, step back left, and then go down again and pause for a sec. And you want to actually loop around over here to this topside arrow and get shot down over to this yellow platform and battle this gentleman here. Then we're going to head south and east, aka down and right, pick up this Pokeball really quick because why not? That's an upgrade for some Porygons, and then head down this little staircase. Go grab the Pokeball on this desk. And then make your way up north in this little place. Go fight this guy. He's going to give you the elevator key to actually be able to properly traverse this quote-unquote dungeon. Once you defeat him, you should get the elevator key spawned right next to him. Old lift key, just like on your guys' screen. All right, then from here, you want to head almost all the way back up from which we came. So we're going to go ahead and go up this staircase. Head over here to this little zippy zap. Grab this while we're here. Why not? A free rare candy. Go over to this zippy zap platform. Go over here. Go back up the stairs. We can come grab a Pokeball over here if you want to. I'm going to do it because I don't mind the XP. You can do that if you want to or not. Just go up the stairs. All right, and here is us learning Shell Smash on Wartortle, which is probably the most important move that the Wartortle line can learn. So if you're ever going to run Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise in the storyline, make sure you learn Shell Smash. That move is extremely powerful. And there's a TM Fake Tears over here if it helps you decide whether it's worth to come get this or not. Now, heading back up this staircase, you can dodge or battle this trainer if you want to. All right, from the right side of these platforms, you want to go ahead and step on the bottom green one right here, like this. It'll shoot you around like so. Pick up whatever Pokeballs you want to. This is a Moonstone. And then if you come back this way and loop around over to this right corner, this one will be a Hyper Potion. All right, back at the top left-hand corner, you want to walk down south and then east over on this green arrow. Then you want to go east onto this arrow, and then west, and then east again. And then take the top arrow from this side, and you want to come over down to this bottom arrow right here. Make your way around and loop around out here. Head over to the elevator. We're going to take this over to floor number 4, and that's going to lead us right over to the Giovanni fight, I believe. Floor number 4. We're going to take it to that. We're going to walk out. We're going to come over here. We could grab this Pokeball. Why not? Let's see what's inside of it. Got a calcium. Why not? Easy peasy little vitamin to pick up. Head up north, and this will be 2 little grunt fights, and then I believe a big Giovanni fight. All right, here's my Wartortle evolution into Blastoise, which was also super huge to get right before this big fight. We're also up to 50k Pokeyen now, which is pretty significant. All right, make sure before you step into this room to be very prepared. Make sure you heal everything. You have enough PP. I went ahead and used an ether on my Aquatail, for example. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this fight, and I'll show you guys what you might have to deal with and hopefully give a few tips and tricks here and there. I'm going to lead with my Blastoise. I think he has a lot of ground types, including like a Rhydon and stuff, maybe like a Nidoqueen and a Nidoking as well. I'm going to go ahead and just go for probably a Rain Dance to start things off. I could arguably go for a Shell Smash. I might want to just Shell Smash first, and I probably can sweep after. The only problem is if I miss an Aqua Tail, it makes for an awkward situation. I'm going to go for Shell Smash over Rain Dance. I don't think I have to worry about anything else going on. So let's just go for we should live 1 attack. This guy has access to Shockwave. That's pretty crazy. A Paralyze here would be brutal. Thankfully, no. I don't even know if Shockwave has the chance. We're going to go ahead and probably click probably Aqua Tail heal for the stab damage. One shot the Nidorina. Kangaskhan comes in next. This Pokemon does have Fake Out. A really cool strat you can do against Pokemon that you know for sure are going to use Fake Out is by going ahead and using a potion. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use a Super Potion on my Blastoise here. They probably use Fake Out. You can actually use items on turns like that. Now, unfortunately, it went for a Mega Punch, so I kind of got played there, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just go for Aqua Tail again and one-shot this Kanga. This is the power of Shell Smash, man. Lowering your defenses by 1 stage each, but raising your attack, special attack, and speed by 2. It's a significant increase. Now we could one-shot his Murkrow as well. Then his last Pokemon is just a Nidorino, which we should be able to one-shot super easily with our Aqua Tail. There we go. With Giovanni defeated, we're going to go ahead and pick up the Silph Scope. We can then use that to go traverse through Lavender Tower if we want to. If you click your A button between these trees and these trees, you'll get a nest ball over here and a net ball over here. You have to be looking at the tile when you do it. You'll get these 2 quick free Pokeballs. Shout out to Aaron in my live stream chat for that little tip. We are done with this dungeon now, so we're just going to make our way out of here with the elevator and just go up to the base floor and make our way back over to the PC to heal up. Also, I did kind of fail to mention this, but now that we have 4 gym badges, we can also access the GTL and freely sell and buy and trade things now. So if you don't have as powerful of a team that I do, you might want to go try to pick up like a hidden ability Magikarp, for example. You would search hidden ability yes, and you look up Magikarp or Gyarados, search by lowest price, and try to find one cheap. This is probably the most powerful storyline Pokemon you can get, is a hidden ability Gyarados or Magikarp, because it has Moxie, and you set up with Dragon Dance, and you become an unkillable monster. However, they're kind of pricey, as you can see, so it's kind of good to avoid. You can actually find some really, really cheap non-hidden ability Gyaradoses / Magikarp for super cheap on the GTL with really good stats and even natures. So you might want to go for that instead if you're on a budget in your first region. But I have tons of guides on this topic, so I'm not going to ramble on about it anymore. Check those out if you're interested. I believe at this point in Kanto, you have like 3 different options. You could go ahead and head over to Saffron City and do the other dungeon over there and work towards the gym leader Sabrina in there. We could go back to Lavender Tower and do the path up there and kind of take care of that whole storyline and get the Pokeflute to get past the Snorlaxes. Or yeah, we have to do one of those two. We can't head over to Fuchsia yet because we don't have the Pokeflute, so we can't get past the Snorlax over here. So you know what, let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna fly back to Lavender Town now that we have access to that. We're gonna head up and we're gonna go through this. This should be super simple. I think we're super over leveled for this, although we will have a rival fight right up here. Once we step to the left a little bit here, there will be a quick rival fight, so make sure you're prepared for that before jumping into this spot. You can actually see him in the overworld for whatever reason. All right, with your rival defeated, we can pretty easily make our way up the Pokemon Tower. This part is super simple. You basically just walk left and right, making your way up each staircase whenever you have access to them, and battle all the trainers and Pokemon in between. Make sure to catch a few Pokemon along your PokeMMO journey. Getting up to, once again, 50 owned OT Pokemon is super important for the XP share in Kanto, so it's always important to make small progress like that, and I've been neglecting it too much in this storyline run. Now, during the storyline, you can actually step on this and get a full heal for your entire party, but after, I believe, this section is complete, you can no longer do that. It will stop healing, like, PP and stuff, so you can't just sit here and, like, Sweet Scent Shiny Hunt, for example. But in the storyline, you do get a nice little heal there that is probably worth to go ahead and use, and also pick up all the Pokeballs you can along the way. We're going to have a Marowak encounter up here, the infamous sort of ghostly spirit that is a little too dark for a children's game. There is a Pokeball that holds a rare candy right in this little pocket. We can head over here and get the scripted Mother Marowak encounter. Now that we have our Silph Scope, you can't get this encounter. It'll just kind of be a weird little thing. You can't go past this spot without getting the Silph Scope first. With the Marowak defeated, we can then head up here. We're going to have to battle through a small gauntlet of Team Rocket members and eventually save the old man that is being trapped up here. Once you fight all the Team Rocket trainers and just talk to the old man at that back end section, you'll go ahead and just save him and bring him back to his house, and then make sure to talk to him again so that you go ahead and obtain the Pokeflute. Also, a quick reminder that during the storylines, it's always good to go ahead and sell off random items like nuggets, especially. You can keep a lot of this stuff. A lot of this will have use, but nuggets are just made to be sold for Pokeyen, so getting an extra 5k and getting up to 70k is nice. Make sure to heal up. All right, but now that I'm done the Lavender Tower side quest, I'm going to make my way south down this route, mostly just to go pick up one important item. You don't really have to do this, but you can get the Super Rod by going down this route. You're going to have to battle a bunch of trainers along the way. We don't have access to Surf yet to properly get all the Pokeballs on this route, but getting access to a Super Rod and a Gold Rod, an Old Rod, is super important in PokeMMO. Those are the 2 ones we have access to. We'll have access to the Good Rod once we get access to Fuchsia City, which will also be very, very soon. An important note is that on this route, you could come up and talk to this girl above this building. I'll walk outside and show you guys right now, but she gives you the move Return, which is honestly a really powerful normal type move. It's just on this route right below, immediately below Lavender Tower. So once you come down here, come talk to her. You can grab Return TM. That'll be super good in PvP and during the storyline. If your Pokemon has high happiness, make sure to check their happiness level. For example, my Blossom's at 85. But if you want to battle your way down this route and get all the XP and Pokeyen, you can. If not, it's also totally okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this Snorlax battle here. Since we now have the Pokeflute to actually be able to wake him up, I need to be able to get past him so that we can get over to the Super Rod down more south on this route. All right, after defeating the Snorlax, we can do one of 2 things. We can continue south and working on our Super Rod, or you can take a quick left and go over here and walk up here. And if you have 30 OT Pokemon, 30 owned, which I do not, so I actually can't grab this right now, then you can actually, I'll come back for this though later, you can pick up the item finder from this trainer for this NPC right here, then go back to the Snorlax spot, use the item finder on where the Snorlax was previously, and that's going to give you a leftovers item. But continuing south, I'm going to make my way down here and go grab the Super Rod, which I believe should be in this house. Come in here, talk to this fisherman, and pick up probably one of the most important items in Pokemon, the Super Rod. It's going to give you different encounters you weren't able to get previously. Now that we have the Super Rod acquired, we can also quickly fly over to Vermillion City and go grab the Old Rod while we're at it. The Old Rod is going to be in this house. You can talk to this fisherman and quickly grab that. You can use that to catch Magikarps and tons of other Pokemon, mostly just Magikarps. But now that we have those 2 Poké Rods, we're going to head over to Celadon City, head to the west, and then go south and do the whole bike route, making our way down to Fuchsia City. That's going to give us 2 things, access to the next gym badge, and then also giving us access to the Safari Zone, which does a couple of things. It's one of the best money makers in early game PokeMMO, and it also is going to help me get some more species caught for really cheap. Only need 500 Pokeyen to enter while giving us 30 Safari Balls. It's going to help us get some more species to collect those XP shares and item finders. It's important to know that these Snorlax encounters are gift Pokemon, which means they're neutral nature and 15 IVs across, and they're also shiny locked, so it's not really useful in my opinion to take the time to catch them. They're a pain in the butt to catch, unless you really like Snorlax and want one in your storyline. But even then, I'd recommend just go buying one off the GTL now that we're at 4 gym badges. After defeating the Snorlax, just go ahead and head over to this route and make your way and defeat all the bike trainers. This should be pretty simple. It's just a lot of battling. Feel free to fly back to Celadon City to heal up and come back to this route whenever needed. Once you make your way down the bike route, we can head east over to Fuchsia City. Make sure to head into the PC at least once so you unlock the access to fly back to the city. We're going to be doing the same for Saffron City here in a little bit, but head into the PC and heal up if you need to. Alright, but before actually battling Koga, I am going to go ahead and actually go into the Safari Zone. It only costs 500 Pokeyen, and you go in there and you can catch a bunch of Pokemon. It's going to help me make progress on my Pokedex, and then go get the item finder, so I can then go get leftovers in preparation for the Koga gym battle, and for the rest of the storyline. Leftovers are a super powerful item, letting you sustain and gain some more HP on your Pokemon during fights. It's also important to note that catching Pokemon in the Safari Zone is one of the best early game money-making methods, since you only pay 500 Pokeyen to enter. If you catch just one Pokemon with a 1x31, and you can sell that for even like 5k, you're profiting right there. A lot of people will sit here and catch Magikarps in the Safari Zone as a solid, consistent money-making method, because Magikarp is in the Dragon Egg group and can breed with a lot of the powerful Pokemon in the game, such as Dragonite or Garchomp. It's also important to note that you need to go into the Safari Zone anyway just to complete the storyline in Pokemon. You need to go all the way to the back to be able to pick up the Golden Teeth to get the Silph HM. But once again, don't be afraid to come into the Safari Zone multiple times to have to do this, because more Pokemon caught is probably going to mean more profit. It only being 500 yen to enter. The Safari Zone is really just too good for new players, and it's great from scratch. Here's a good example. I paid 500 Pokeyen to enter, and here is a 31 attack IV Doduo. The way I would check this is I would go to Flying A group and do 31 IV, and I would end up selling that for around 4k. This Volibee isn't accurate since that is a female-only species. You can hide those by clicking Hide Female-Only Species, and then someone just listed that Pidgey for really cheap, but you would end up listing this for 4k and it would sell. The reason why it would sell, a lot of people ask me this all the time, like, oh, why are Pokemon like that worth money? Why is anyone buying a Doduo with that IV? It's to breed it with other Pokemon, to breed it with another Pokemon, breed it and then to make it a male, and then breed it with actually good flying type Pokemon, things like Starmie or Pelipper, for example. Due to the way the breeding system works in PokeMMO, every 1x31 or almost every 1x31 ends up having value, which ends up making catching Pokemon really good for Pokeyen. But there you go. If you make your way all the way over to this location in the Safari Zone, you can go ahead and find the gold teeth. They're right in this location, but you have to loop all the way around, essentially counterclockwise. You want to make your way over here in the Safari Zone. So I went ahead and picked up the gold teeth, and I'll be able to turn those into an NPC over in Fuchsia City here in a quick sec. But before we do that, we can also go talk to people and kind of do other stuff. I think we also need to get access to Silph to be able to surf across here, and we do get some sort of reward. I think we get Rock Smash or something here if I remember correctly. Okay, quick correction. I apologize. It's been too long since I've done this storyline. You actually get Silph from talking to the NPC in that building that I just talked to. So make sure to go talk to that NPC, get Silph, and then you get Rock Smash from returning the gold teeth. But anyways, after your first Safari Zone run, you can come down to these two houses. and then come talk to this guy, and he's going to get the gold teeth for the strength HM. Apologies, another dumb little misspeak by me and a mistake, but you do get the strength HM from this guy, and now you can then teach that to a Pokemon and actually use that to go ahead and get this Pokeball right here. And once you have a Pokemon that knows strength, you can just go click your A key, or for me, for example, my Z key on this rock, push it to the right, and pick up this Pokeball, which is a rare candy. It's important to know that you do need the 5th gym badge before you're actually able to use Surf, so you can't use it quite yet until you defeat Koga. Alright, and thanks to the help of the Safari Zone, now that I have 30 owned Pokemon, I can actually go grab the item finder, so I'm going to head over to the east of Vermillion City, head up to the top floor of this place, go talk to the scientist, and grab myself the item finder. That's going to allow me to pick up 2 different leftovers on top of the spots that these Snorlaxes were at previously. You can actually find most items in PokeMMO that are hidden in the ground without the item finder, but I believe these leftovers specifically require you to go get the item finder. So we're going to go over to where Snorlax was at, click the item finder, and then get a leftovers. Beautiful. And then do the same thing over to the west of Celadon, head over here. It should be right on top of, I think, this tile or this one right here. There you go, leftovers. So now we have 2 leftovers we can use for free we got from the storyline. I don't think that either of these are tradable. Yep, they're both untradeable, but they're just a really good, powerful item, so make sure to take advantage of them. Especially on a Pokemon like Blossom that is super tanky, letting it stay the HP, keep the HP while it sets up with a growth or a Quiver Dance hopefully soon is really good. I think now with the help of leftovers, we can actually go take on the next gym. I'm going to fly over to Fuchsia, head over to Koga's gym. Now, since I have Alakazam, it's honestly going to be a pretty easy fight for me, in my opinion. Hopefully, I don't eat those words. Koga's a pretty tough gym leader, especially if you picked Venusaur, or especially if you're relying solely on something like Blossom. He has a lot of 4 times resistances against grass, so make sure you're coming into this battle pretty prepared. He has a Crobat, I believe, you might want to watch out for, and some other Pokemon. It'll kind of depend. We'll see what the fight looks like exactly when we get over to it. But being super effective against all these poison types with Psyshock and Psychic is going to be super good. My Alakazam should be able to sweep most things, but we might want to watch out for things like red cards or Focus Ashes. Alright, after battling all the trainers leading up to him, it's finally time for my Koga fight, which hopefully / I think should be pretty easy. I should be able to spam Psychic / Psyshock throughout all of it, since all of his mons are going to be poison types once again. They could return with something crazy like a Shadow Ball or a Crunch here and there. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. I'm going to go for a Psychic against the Muck. I do 100% damage, so we take him out. Okay, the Crobat does outspeed me, obviously being a hyper fast Pokemon. Getting off 56% damage was pretty solid there. I'm able to then take him out, thankfully. Heal up a little bit for my leftovers. Hopefully I can one-shot enough things and gain enough HP from turns to be able to stay out of range of any other fast Pokemon coming in. The Weezing goes down as well. Once again, just one-shotting everything with Alakazam. This is why Trade Evos are so good. Like, this thing probably should just die here, but it could return with a hugely strong Bug Buzz. Nope. We take it out. One shot. Koga, the easiest gym so far, thanks to Alakazam. Now with 5 gym badges and access to Surf, we can go back into the Safari Zone and pick up a few things. I really like picking up this Dragon Scale here, specifically because Kingdra can be a really good Pokemon, especially against Blaine. And in my opinion, Blaine is probably one of the hardest gym leaders, if not the single hardest gym leader in PokeMMO. Having a really good counter to him like Kingdra is super helpful. Also, a ton of items here in the back if you loop around like so. All right, now that we have our 5th gym badge acquired, we still need to do Sabrina to get our 6th, and then Blaine for our 7th, and then go back to Vermillion City to get our 8th over at Giovanni, and then move on to the Elite Four. So we're going to make our way over to Saffron City now, finally, now we have access to it. And the unfortunate thing is that we're going to have to do the Silph Co dungeon, which is probably the longest dungeon in Kanto and is dreaded by a lot of players, but it's also going to get us pretty good XP to actually be able to take on Sabrina, which is nice. You see, we can't fight Sabrina until clearing this Team Rocket member. You can also come up to the dojo really quick and then pick up a free Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee for a Pokedex entry and gain some XP from these guys. I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. All right, with all the trainers defeated, you can go ahead and pick up one of your Pokeballs. Obviously, the Gigachads will select Hitmonlee, and the Turbo Nerds will go with Hitmonchan. Now it is time for the dreaded Silph Co, but I will try to make it as painless as possible, so just follow along. First things first, head into the building itself, and then make your way over to the staircase / ladder area. Then at the stairs, you want to head up 4 flights of stairs. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this should be the floor we need to be on. If you see the Team Rocket leader over here or trainer over here, you're at the right spot. Next up, we want to jet to the left dodging this trainer. If you want to, you can actually walk around him. Just make sure to make your moves safely. There you go. We will have to fight this trainer down here. Then after that quick fight, you want to hop on this teleporter, hop right back on so you can head to the east in this direction. Pick up this Pokeball really quick, and that's going to give you the card key. Then you want to head back left the way you came. Go ahead and do that same thing again, where you kind of manipulate the platform. And then now you have the card key, you can open these doors, loop around here, come grab this Pokeball really quick, and then head on the teleporter. You want to then head east and then north once you see the ability to do so, and then come hook left and open up this door. We're going to jump on this teleporter next, but I'm going to go grab this Pokeball really quick. You don't have to do this. It is a dubious disc. We're going to then jump on this teleporter, and this is going to be our rival fight, so make sure you are potioned up and prepared for this part. I'm going to go ahead and add the extra HP onto my Blastoise just in case, then go ahead and jump in front of Gary. We're going to battle him. We're going to pick up our Lapras here as well from this trainer afterwards. Make sure you're prepared for this fight, obviously. We have a big rival fight within this location, and then also a big Giovanni fight at the very end. We'll also pick up our Master Ball in this building. After one Shell Smash, I should be able to sweep through his entire team for the most part, except for maybe his Blastoise. Yep, there that comes that. I'm going to go ahead and just click probably Surf here since I'll do the most damage with Stab. Still only doing 27%. Not great. A nice crit for 42% damage is going to give me some really, really solid chip. He's going to go for a Rapid Spin to take me out, which is actually a really smart play from the AI because now he gets that speed boost. I'm going to bring in my Alakazam, though, which should be super fast and should be able to respond with a Psychic to quickly take this thing out. It should be faster. Perfect. 29%. So far, we've seen an Alakazam, a Blastoise, and an Executor. Honestly, our rival's coverage here is pretty ridiculous. I'm having a tough time against this fight. Doing 82% damage here to my Charmeleon. I'm going to go back in for some chip damage. Hit 60% on probably a huge crit there. Nice. Not enough to kill, unfortunately. That's okay. Alakazam should be able to take this out and hopefully clean up the last two Pokemon, but I'm not going to lie, guys. It is looking close. The last two Pokemon were a Pidgeot and a Flareon, which both should get obliterated by Alakazam. There we go. Close fight to some extent, but also not close at all. Our rival storms off in a rage. We can go talk to this guy and get Lapras. For thanking us, essentially. He'll send that over to our PC. The most important thing there is honestly just the free Pokedex entry. Now, since my team is pretty beat up here, I am going to go ahead and use some revives to prepare for the Giovanni fight, especially. Mostly just on my Blastoise. He has a lot of ground-type Pokemon, so a revive there and then some super potions will hopefully take us up to a healthy range. That should be enough for Giovanni. The Giovanni fight is pretty much directly after as well. We're going to take this teleporter and then come down south and have to fight a trainer right here and then make our way over to this key card and then go battle Giovanni immediately after this Team Rocket fight. All right, once you're ready for the Giovanni fight, make sure to obviously go ahead and potion, revive, pop whatever you need to after that Team Rocket fight. He'll kind of trigger the fight once you walk into the room, so just make sure you're extra prepared. We're going to go ahead and go against Giovanni. I'm going to Shell Smash probably after the Rhyhorn, because I think the Rhyhorn could have access to Sturdy. You want to watch out for stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and Surf first. It'll either one-shot or trigger its Sturdy, and it did one-shot, so that's totally okay. I'm going to go for a Shell Smash against the Kangaskhan. He might fake out here, but otherwise, I'm pretty safe to go ahead and set up a Shell Smash there and should be able to sweep the rest of the fight, hopefully, after living one attack. But unfortunately, he crits a return, and I actually lose Borgles. And in comes Honchkrow on the Psychic, a genius play from the AI. At this point, I have to sacrifice Switch out to Butterfree to be able to bring in my Blossom to try to set up growths or something. This might be a lost fight, to be totally honest. I might just have to switch over to my so I have to revive my Blastoise. I think this fight became very, very, very tough very, very, very quickly. So I can't set up into a flying type attack. I'm so under leveled on this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and use the max revive I have on Borgles. I think it's the only way I can win this fight. The Drill Peck is going to straight up one-shot me. That's impressive. That is straight up impressive. But I can bring back in Borgles. Now, I think I might go for Rain Dance here on Borgles. I think I'm actually fast enough with my speed EVs to hopefully outspeed most things. So I'm going to go for the Rain Dance over the Shell Smash so I don't have to worry about the defense reductions. I'm going to go ahead and go for Surf here. Should be pretty safe. Did I not KO or did it already take some damage? How do I ever not KO that Honchkrow? That's, not gonna lie, kind of mind-blowing, but that's okay. And a crit Dark Pulse. Okay, he's probably Super Luck Honchkrow. The question is he also... I'm gonna go for a Hyper Potion here. Is he also Sucker Punch? I'm gonna go Hyper Potion here just in case, because that would be an insane play from the AI. Drill Peck, that's okay as well. Sure, we get a potion off. I can now go for the Surf, take out the Honchkrow. We have a lot left to do in this very tough fight. Kangaskhan comes back in. I am just going to click Surf this time. Only doing 61%. Can't even KO, but it should put it in range of the Alakazam, which is nice. Return doesn't even kill me there. So only because it crit and I was defense dropped last time was it able to one-shot me. Nidoking comes in, which should be able to get surfed down without even having the rain up. That's beautiful. And then his last Pokemon is Nidoqueen. This was a really good example of, like, even me with, 8,000 hours in PokeMMO, these fights are tough. Even for someone who has played the game for this long, these fights are difficult, and I'm out of Surf PP. I'm going to have to Flash Cannon. Alakazam should be able to come in and clean things up afterwards. It shouldn't be a fear, but this was a tough fight. A very tough fight. There's an attack drop and a defense drop as well, which is good for me. We're going to clean up Giovanni. The white herb, though. We're going to clean up Giovanni and go ahead and pick up the Master Ball after. With Blastoise dead, Alakazam our last Pokemon. I'm going to bring it in. Go for the Psychic. That should be a clean KO. Easy peasy. Not even close. And there he is, Giovanni defeated. We can go talk to the old man. He'll thank us essentially for saving him, give us the Master Ball from the Kanto region, which is always nice to have just in case. We could also access the PC from here and then put all of our Pokemon in the PC and then pull them back out just to quickly heal them. Once you're done that fight, you are done with Silph Co, though, thankfully. So we can head out of here, heading back down all the stairs from which we came. We can then go ahead and head over and finally do our Sabrina fight. All right, but now that Team Rocket has been purged out of Saffron City, we can actually make our way into the Sabrina fight. So we're going to go ahead and head in here, make our little pathway over to Sabrina. Maybe take some fights along the way and hopefully be able to Shell Smash through her. So starting from this square, you want to go ahead and step on it and then do up, left. So we're going to have to battle this guy. After defeating this guy, continue left. And then you want to go, down. Then you want to go down. We should be at Sabrina. So only one trainer you have to fight. So if you want to heal up before doing that, go ahead and do that. Remember, it is up, left, down, down. Here I am jumping into my Sabrina fight. I'm going to go ahead and lead with Blastoise and try to set up with a Shell Smash and see how it goes. We've got Espeon lead. This thing might have... I don't know if it gets Energy Ball. I think it might... which might honestly do a lot of damage to me, but I don't think it'll quite be able to one-shot. Shell Smash is actually huge here. Having the Espeon be faster than me is actually a huge benefit to me, because now I can Shell Smash after taking damage, so it doesn't get to hit me on the defense reductions. Now I can go for a big Surf, only doing 65% though. This thing being a lot more especially defensively bulky than I realized. Doing 55% in return, and a Confuse. Now, the Confuse, it's what's tough there. I'm going to have to hit through this Confusion. Otherwise, I might be in a little bit of trouble. But thankfully, we get a little bit lucky and make it. Espeon was the lead. Next up is Slowbro, which I am not going to be able to hit very well. I kind of regret going Flash Cannon over Bite. I'm not going to lie. Now, it might be worth me to go ahead and switch out here over to a different Pokemon. Or I could just get the chip off. But I think keeping my Blastoise alive for the time being. I'm going to make a sacrifice switch over to my Pidgey. The Slowbro goes for a Scald. I'm going to bring in my Blossom. He's honestly going to do pretty decent damage to me here, but I'm going to try to get up one growth and see how it goes. He packs Ice Beam, which returns with 100% damage and KOs me. This is a tough situation. The way I'm going to salvage it is by trying to head over to Butterfree to sort of act as a sacrifice switch and then go ahead and use whatever potion I have. Probably a max potion or just a super potion. I'll use a max and I'll buy more potions later on. A max potion on Bortles. I've been decently greedy from this point on. I've kind of stopped XP grinding, and as you can see, I'm really paying the price for it, honestly. I'm going to bring in Alakazam to try to deal with this Slowbro, but it's not going to be great, so I can't really do that much damage to him. I'm going to try to chip him down with a little bit of Psyshocks, but we're going to see what I can do. Sabrina switches in an Alakazam of their own. We're going to get 35% chip, thankfully, because of that. This is still winnable. The Slowbro got Synchronized Burned, which is nice. It's going to be tough pushing through that Slowbro. They're going to go for a Recover. A really good play, honestly, by them. We can get a special defense drop from the Psychic, which would be huge. I think it's a 10% chance. I think my only chance at victory here is to go Bortles and go for the Shell Smash. He should outspeed me. I'm pretty sure that he has Energy Ball here. He goes for Recover. That's actually a good for me situation. I should be able to one-shot him, I think, with a Surf. This team being super specially defensively tanky is really tough for my team. And I should have spent more time training. Only doing 65% there. Kind of embarrassing, unfortunately. Citrus Berry as well. The PokeMMO storyline proving to be brutal. Psyshock returning for 71% damage. I can, however, kill him here with a crit since I'm faster, which is nice. I don't have the damage to take out the Slowbro, though, is the big problem. We get a level up there, though. I think I might be in Torrent range, or I'm very close to it. I don't know if I have a better play here aside going from Surf. I think it's my only play. I could go for a potion, but I don't even know if it's good. 52% damage. Solid enough, hopefully. Let's see if he doesn't return. That doesn't kill. That's actually huge. Please no burn. Of course he gets the burn. Is that going to finish me? Oh my goodness. Okay. I mean, now I have to potion. Super. He's going to do 22%. Unless he crits me here, I'm fine. He goes for another Scald, doing 21% damage. A little bit of Scald chip. I'm alive for a few more turns. As long as I can one-shot everything in return. I'm also out of potions. I should have bought more potions. I should have traded my Pokemon more. There's a lot of things I could have done better here. Held on by 1 HP. A win is a win. All you need to be able to do is just get that win. I think I'm faster than this. And we have Flash Cannon. This is the time to go for it, if ever. It does have Focus Sash. I was a little worried about that, but what are you going to do? There's not really a better play or other play there you can make. That's okay. This is probably a loss. I don't think I have another revive in the back. I have an energy root, actually, don't I? Yeah, I actually just realized that. I should have energy rooted. It's going to be faster. I have a revive, but not a max revive. I go for it on the... What's Sabrina's last Pokemon? Do I ever go for it on something like Alakazam over the Blastoise? I think I might, right? For the speed? For the speed and the levels? What's the last Pokemon? I'm going to revive Bortles since I think he's more flexible. Psyshock's going to go ahead and one-shot me. The problem is I don't know if I'm faster than Jinx here. So I might be faster due to the speed EVs where I spent the time specifically clearing Diglett Cave. Oh, that's the benefit from that. That's huge. These last couple gyms, man, they are getting tougher. Blaine's going to be really tough as well. Last Pokemon is Mr. Mime. How can I defeat this thing is the question. Does he just kill me in response? Does he Energy Ball me? Do I go for... If he has Energy Ball... I think my only chance is to go for a Surf. And see what he has. 43% is not great. I think I might lose here. Psybeam, only 27. That's actually huge. I have Energy Root. That's a GG's. We're going to pull it out, fellas. Oh, he gets the Confusion on the next Psybeam. So I can Surf here. It's a lot of it's going to come down to Confusion, whether I hit or not. I hit through the first Confusion, doing 41% damage. Bortles is clutching 23% from the next Psybeam. I have to hit through Confusion. Snapped out. There it is. Easy peasy. None of these fights are actually hard. PokeMMO storylines are actually super easy. Of course, first try. Wow. Okay, not close at all. Now we have Blaine and Giovanni left. Alright, so after you defeat Sabrina and you have 6 gym badges, now we have 7 and 8 to still get. 7 is going to be down here on Cinnabar Island. We're going to have to do a little bit of a Pokemon Mansion dungeon, and then we'll get the key to open up the gym, and we'll actually go back up to Viridian and go fight Giovanni there, and then we'll go ahead and finally go over to the Elite Four. So first things first, the best way, in my opinion, to get to Cinnabar Island is just come down here. You don't have to do this annoying Seafoam Island thing. You can literally just come down here, surf, and then I'm going to pop a Repel probably if I have any. I don't know if I have any in my bag. Unfortunately, I don't. So we're just going to make our way, just go straight south, and you'll make your way down to Cinnabar Island. There's also a ×5. There's a patch of grass here. This patch of grass can be used to encounter ×5 hordes of Tangela right here. And this could be, number 1, a really good shiny hunting spot, and number 2, a really good XP training spot at this point in the game. Tangelas give pretty good XP. However, the only downside is they give like defense IVs, which is not going to be very good for the storyline. But once you head directly south, you'll make your way down to Cinnabar Island, and this door will be locked. We'll have to make our way over to Pokemon Mansion. You can also go into this building really quick and go hatch your fossil if you want to, but once again, it's going to be level 5. It's kind of really behind at this point. I wouldn't really recommend worrying about that. You want to head into Cinnabar Mansion. Okay, with the help of max repels, this can actually be a pretty quick section, so I super do strongly encourage and recommend you guys pop some repels here. There should be no battles, I believe, if you do that. First things first, you want to head straight north and go up this staircase inside of our mansion. Don't go up this staircase. You want to loop around over here to this more north staircase and then go up that one. Then you want to flick the switch on this little statue. We're going to go slightly east and head straight south, even walking off the ledge like so. Then you do have to fight this scientist, it seems. Or if you go on the outer edge, you can actually avoid him, so keep that in mind. I'm going to go grab this Pokeball really quick, but then we're going to hop down this staircase right here. You can often find a bunch of people down here shiny hunting for Ditto, since this is actually the best place to do that at. Then we want to head over to this room. We can dodge this trainer if we walk him appropriately, and then we're going to come flick this switch. Press it, yes, who wouldn't? Then you want to loop back around semi near the way you came. I'm going to pop another repel there. Come back over this way. There's a trainer over here you have to dodge. I think if you stay to the west tile, you should be able to dodge him. Yep, he's right peeking up out there. You want to head over to this switch and trigger this one. Yes. Then if you head straight west, we're going to go pick up the secret key, and this will let you get into the gym on Cinnabar Island. I'm going to go grab this Pokeball that was over in this room as well really quick, just to see what it is. Might as well, since we have access to it. That's a TM Blizzard, honestly relevant to pick up. There's also a Pokeball here to the southwest that also has a TM Solar Beam. All right, now getting out of the mansion basement is a little bit of a pain. You have to retrace your steps, so you can't escape rope out of here, unfortunately. You want to head back over to that top right statue and go ahead and activate that one. Who wouldn't? Head back south through this gate, which was now open. You then have to loop around again, back the way we came, and come activate this statue in this room once again. And now once you do both of those things, we want to head back over to this staircase, and there should be a pathway which you can get out of here pretty easily now. We're going to run past that guy, head back over to the staircase, past the shiny Raikou, which is incredible, and then come over here, and now we can just walk out just like this as our max repel wears off. Perfect. And now that we have the key, we're on Cinnabar Island, and we have 6 gym badges. We can go ahead and take on Blaine. Now, something I want to do really quick, since we have access to the GTL, and I really do strongly recommend you guys do stuff like this, I'm going to go ahead and buy a white herb for my Blastoise. Now, that is an item that is going to fix the stat changes from my Shell Smash. So, essentially, I'm going to Shell Smash, which gives me -1 in my defense stats, but largely boosts my attack stats. White herb is going to get rid of that defense drop and kind of keep me a little bit tankier, which I really enjoy. So, we're going to go ahead and buy that item to help out with this strategy. And then other than that, we should be good to go ahead and take on Blaine. My team is honestly not that strong and kind of underleveled, so if I lose this fight, it wouldn't shock me too much, but I'm hoping I can take it out with a victory with the help of Blastoise. Blastoise is definitely going to have to carry here pretty aggressively, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and get some XP on these trainers on the way to Blaine. Alrighty, it is now time for our Blaine fight, and once again, I really do want to reiterate, I actually might lose here if I ever lose to any fight. Blaine is probably the toughest gym leader in maybe all of PokeMMO. So, hilariously, what's about to happen is he's going to intimidate me and actually waste my white herb proc, which is kind of unfortunate here. Actually, extremely unfortunate. It would have been better to lead with a different Pokemon before bringing in my Blastoise here. Now, he's going to go for a Wild Charge, I think. I'm going to go for a Shell Smash anyways and hope that I live one attack. If my Blastoise dies one shot to the Wild Charge here, I probably just lose the entire fight. He does 88.9% damage. Absolutely calked to the moon. So now, hopefully... Well, actually, the problem is he's going to use Extreme Speed here, right? And I don't have any healing items. I should have bought potions, so I actually think I just lose. Oh no. Because he's in Extreme Speed here, 100%. Yep, there it is. I think I lose. That's very funny. My best bet from this point onward is just to bring in Alakazam and pray to Arceus. This is a perfect example of how tough the PokeMMO storyline is, and to not feel bad if you lose. Once again, I'm a player with around 8,000 hours in the game, and I just lost to Blaine. And that's okay. It happens. You don't lose Pokeyen when you lose in PokeMMO. The only thing you lose is mental fortitude. So if you have enough mental fortitude, you'll be okay. And now that I've learned a few things about this fight and remembered them, I can actually approach it much differently. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and buy a couple revives, probably just 2 for the time being. I'm also going to go pick up some hyper potions. We didn't have any potions at all. I'm going to go ahead and buy 5 of those. I'm also going to head over to the GTL and pick up 1 or 2 items. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a spoon, a twisted spoon for my... which they're unfortunately kind of expensive right now, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up one of those for my Alakazam, since having that extra damage is much more effective than just having that leftovers heal. Other than that, I think I do still want to rock the white herb strategy. I'm just going to change my lead. I'm going to lead with the Alakazam instead, or honestly, I might just lead. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lead with a sacrifice switch to just sort of tank the Intimidate, essentially. So we're gonna try this, run it back. All right, here is attempt number 2, leading with the sacrifice to hopefully draw out the Arcanine. We'll see if the lead changes, though. There is a Magmar, for example. That's totally okay. We're going to stay in with our Pidgey, and then go ahead and just let it basically die. We're going to click quick attack, get a little bit of chip damage off. Why not? We're going to bring in Alakazam afterwards, or we could just go ahead and bring in... we could bring in Blastoise now and Shell Smash, because it's going to have that opportunity. He's going for Brick Break. So we're going to go ahead and set up... we could do Rain Dance first, even. I like the idea of Rain Dancing first against Magmar. If he switches Arcanine here, it'd be a little frustrating, but this is gonna work out perfectly. This is gonna work out perfectly. So we set up Rain. We go for the Shell Smash. We're nice and strong. Now, unless he has something with Sturdy, we should be able to sweep through everything pretty aggressively here. Let's see how this goes. I just need to be able to live one extreme speed from Arcanine, which I should be able to with this amount of HP. There goes Magmar. 96% damage, one-shotting that effectively. Arcanine comes in, gets the Intimidate off, but I already have my White Herb procced. Extreme Speed shouldn't be able to kill me at this HP. He doesn't even go for it. Perfect. We one-shot the Arcanine. Ninetales comes in next. Should be able to safely go ahead and get off a Surf like that. Perfectly. One-shotting that. That was even with a Pasho Berry, so that damage was even weakened, and we still one-shot through with Rain and Shell Smash up. Rapidash comes in next. Go for Surf once again. This is a perfect example of losing, learning, adjusting our strategy, coming back, and then fully sweeping. That Arcanine was our nemesis, and now he's just a punk. Then a final Surf into Magcargo should do it. There we go. That is Blaine defeated in our 7th gym badge gotten here. Next up, we have Giovanni, and in my opinion, Giovanni is a lot easier than Blaine. Now, leaving the Cinnabar gym, you're going to run into Bill, and he's going to want to take you over to the islands, essentially, to do that mini quest. I am not going to follow him at the moment. You can do that if you want to, but I'd honestly rather get level 100 Pokemon by completing the storyline first, so we're going to do that first. Now, you want to go ahead and fly over to Vermillion City to be able to take on Giovanni. His gym should be unlocked now. I'm going to go ahead and immediately just make my way over to his gym. We should be able to take him on pretty well here. Now, I think the fastest way to get through Giovanni's gym, you only have to fight 2 trainers if you take this route, is by coming over and battling this guy and then heading up to that northwest spot and battling one more guy. I might battle a couple of these guys just for the XP, though. Most of these guys are just going to have a lot of ground types, such as Rhyhorns, or Blastoise is going to be able to stomp through them. You will have to watch out for a bunch of Sturdies and Focus Sashes, though, like here. Rhyhorn with Focus Sash. And this is the second trainer up here. You'll have to battle him. He'll walk forward, but if you walk back out of the gym and then come back in the same direction, his position will reset, so you can make your way over to Giovanni, I believe. All right, here's the example. I walked out of the gym and then walked back in, and now I can make my way over to Giovanni if I wanted to. I am actually going to do a little bit more of these battles, though. Since I have the max obedience level 55, and my mons are only 49 and 50, I do want to take full use of that. So we're going to go ahead and do some of these just for the XP. Alrighty, it is time for gym badge number 8. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Hopefully no Intimidate Pokemon lead. Should be able to set up Rain and possibly Shell Smash with Blastoise here. Ooh, Dugtrio is the lead though. So into Dugtrio, I'd rather just go ahead and surf this thing down. And then even possibly make a sacrifice switch after 43%. He's faster. That is brutal. So I'm going to make a funny play here. I'm actually going to sacrifice switch over to Butterfree. Oh, no, I'm arena trapped. Of course I can't do that. Okay. Well, now we have to think a little bit. He's going to be faster than me. I'm going to go for Shell Smash. He's going to go for Reversal. Thankfully, not KO me. I'm going to be able to Shell Smash after. He shouldn't have any... He could Sucker Punch me, to be fair. I don't know. There's no way Giovanni has Sucker Punch, right? There's no way. Okay. Whew. Oof, okay, we have Shell Smash, plus we're in Torrent range. The only thing I have to watch out for is priority moves. Now, I know that this Rhyperior has... Sturdy for a fact. Oh man, so should I go for the... I think I still just go for the Surf here. It doesn't have Sturdy. Okay, so we would 100% it, kill it, easy peasy. Next Pokemon, Dugtrio lead, Arena Trap lead. Keep that in mind for your fights. Rhydon. This thing probably has 30. I still go for Surf. It doesn't. We would 100% KO it. Beautiful. Torrent plus Shell Smash going ridiculous here. Got 2 Pokemon left. I should be able to take care of whatever. Worst case scenario, I have Alakazam in the back. We're going to Surf this. Take care of a Nidoking. No priority. No Sucker Punch. Perfect, perfect. Pasho Berry can't even protect him from Shell Smash plus Torrent range. Nidoqueen's the last Pokemon. This is going to go down. Easily Shell Smash. This is why I always say Blastoise is the best Kanto starter, and Shell Smash Blastoise is broken for the storylines. There you go. If you can get it set up properly, you just can't lose. Perfect fight. That is 8 gym badges. So now we are officially unshiny locked on this account, and we also can go do the Elite Four. You can also find legendaries now. Yes, that is absolutely true. Now that you have 8 gym badges, I have the chance of finding whatever rotating legendary is in the wild in the month of when I'm playing this. So right now, I think Moltres is the legendary in PokeMMO. If you don't know about legendaries in PokeMMO, if you Google legendaries explained PokeMMO, I will have a video covering that in more detail. But before being able to take on the Victory Road and before being able to take on the Elite Four, we do have a rival fight up here. So we're going to go ahead and head left. Gary is going to stop us and want a duel. We're going to go ahead and do Shell Smash Blastoise strats and probably obliterate him. Flareon is his lead. We're going to Shell Smash into it. He's going to switch out over to his own Blastoise. Okay, well, that fight was brutal. It seems like I have to... I'm just under level. We have to do some XP training, boys. Since I need some XP and I'm kind of under leveled at the moment, I'm going to head over to the east of Fuchsia. Just go to any route where you didn't battle all of the trainers, or if you still don't have, if you have every trainer battled, you might be able to rebattle some of them if you have some extra, if you play the game for like these guys have little exclamation marks over the head. That means I can rebattle them, go get some extra Pokeyen, go get some extra XP. Worst case scenario, you can do some ×5 hordes somewhere. There are ×5 hordes for Nidorino here, for example, where you can get attack IVs or attack EVs if you're interested in that. Newer players ask me all the time, what is the hack to XP training quickly, or how do you XP train quickly while in the middle of the storyline? And the honest answer is there really isn't any hack you can sort of implement. There's no like crazy special techniques. I really just recommend rebattling trainers, battling every trainer along the storyline for XP, maybe doing some ×5 hordes if you want to do that. If you really want to, if you don't mind spending the Pokeyen, you can go buy XP candies. But for this challenge, I'm really interested in seeing how much Pokeyen you can make by the end of a storyline on average. I'm going to go ahead and attempt the Gary rival fight once again here. I'm going to lead with Alakazam this time and kind of go for some Calm Mind setup or something. I need to be able to take care of his Blastoise before I bring my Blastoise in is probably the main problem here. Rhydon is the lead. I should be safe to go ahead and just Psychic this and get off big damage. Don't let him attack me in return. He could have Mega Horn and just one-shot me and just do a ton of damage in general. Executor's going to come in. This thing wood hammered me last time, I think, and just did ridiculous damage to go ahead and KO me. So I probably switch out here, just sacrifice switch over to something like either Blossom or I'm not sure. This is going to be probably one of the toughest Pokemon to answer, honestly, on his team. It's possible I just go for Psyshock here and go for the chip damage. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. Psyshock doing 27% damage here. Honestly, decent chip. I'll take it. Woodhammer just one-shots my Alakazam. He's going to take a huge chip from the recoil, though, there, which I think might put him in range of my Surf now. I don't think he'll one-shot me here. Could go for Headbutt as well, since I have some attack EVs from... I XP trained over at Nidorino, but now I have a ton of attack EVs. I'm going to go for the Headbutt. I also have Flinch chance with the Headbutt, but here comes the Blastoise I was talking about. That is a huge problem. Should I just majorly set up against this thing becomes the question. I'm going to go for the Shell Smash. We do have White Herb. He has EQ shenanigans. I'm going to have Flinch chance with Headbutt, which is super nice. I think abusing more Shell Smashes, and I have a lot more defense now as well. I'm going to Shell Smash again. I think abusing Shell Smashes in potions is going to be the way that I get through this. We're going to minus our defenses by 1 here, but give us a ton more attack and stuff. And now we have Flinch chance. Once I get into Torrent range, I probably do want to start going for Surfs here, but I'm going to go for a Headbutt, doing 75%, and I have Flinch chance. Not quite getting it, but that's okay. Now I'm in Torrent range as well there, so I can go ahead and go for a quick Surf. Beautiful. The rest of this fight, honestly, should be pretty easy from this point forward. We adapted. We fell. We adapted. We overcame. Here comes Flareon. This thing probably has quick attack, but I don't think it's ever doing enough damage to kill me. We're going to throw off a Surf and go ahead and obliterate it. I can probably Surf through the Executor as well since I'm in Torrent range. Pidgeot comes in. Might have quick attack. I'm going to go for the Surf. 100% KOs it. Perfect. Shell Smash once again. Being the beast that is for the storyline, I really can't recommend Shell Smash enough. He might have Focus Sash on this. We'll deal with that if it comes, but thankfully he doesn't. We one-shot the Alakazam. We one-shot everything. We're going to kill the Executor here coming in with a Surf. We're going to get level 60 here in a split second, which is also super nice. There you go. Go do some horde training. Go battle some trainers. You might have to spend like 1 hour max, maybe like 1 to 2 hours max during the storyline. And if you do that, put a little bit of time into XP training, just kind of bite the bullet, it'll make all the other fights that much easier. Once you've defeated your rival right before Victory Road, I strongly recommend heading over to a later game Pokemart like Cinnabar Island and picking up a couple max repels. I'm going to go ahead and pick up maybe 5 or 6 because Victory Road is going to be a pain in the butt and you want to make sure you don't have to run into any Pokemon along the way. Once you're prepped and ready, make sure to head back to where your rival fight was and head to this northwest area over to the west of Vermillion City. And then we're going to make our way north through all of the little trophy situations, kind of rewarding us, saying, hey, nice job getting all 8 gym badges. You're going to need Surf and a couple other 8 gems to get through this little zone. This spot just past the water in this location is hilariously enough actually a pretty good spot for attack EV training. You can get Primeapes and Arbok here, which are 2 really good shinies. They're very high level and they give 10 attack EVs per horde defeated. So if you want to go ahead and pick up a little bit of XP or a couple attack EVs before Victory Road and you have the excess Sweet Sense or whatever to do so, you can go ahead and do this for a little bit if you would like. Otherwise, if you keep just heading north, you'll make your way to the entrance of Victory Road. All right, let's go ahead and get started. You're going to need access to the Strength HM to be able to get through Victory Road. First things first, you want to come over to this boulder, and we're going to push it over to this eastern section. Kind of follow along as I do. It's okay to push it up against this rock because you can loop down like this. You just kind of when we want to end up pushing it over on this white platform, you don't want to push it up here. You want to push it over here, up like so, and then come around and then push it onto the platform. That's going to unlock this wall and give us more access to the cave. I'm going to head back to the center here. You then want to make your way up there, this staircase. We're going to stick to the right over here because there is a trainer up here, I believe, on this section, but you can dodge her if you want to come up on the right section and walk around. Same with this guy over here. If you walk up for a step and then step to the left, pop more repels, step to the left, dodge this guy. We can make our way over to this ladder. Then from this ladder, you want to head down south, down to a boulder down here, and then go ahead and get ready to use strength to push this thing around. It should be pretty hard to mess up. You want to push it over here. If you ever mess up any of these boulders, you can just go up and down back in a ladder, and it will reset it for you. You want to come over here, click this onto here. Now we can head over here. Now there are some trainers over here you want to dodge. I think for the first one, we want to stay to the high ground, and we do want to walk past him like so. For this guy, you want to stay on the lower ground. Come over here, come down this staircase, and then come over to this corner. Once at this corner, you want to come loop around over here. Watch out for a trainer that walks right there. We can come pick up this Pokeball if you really want to, but you're going to risk running into that trainer, and it is for a full heal. We're going to head over to this ladder, head down it. We're going to come over to this rock and use strength to be able to push it upwards. Not quite all the way on this lower section right here. You have to push it all the way to the left. Absolutely all the way to the left. And then we're going to push it down and left into this little section, but don't push it through here. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we're going to push it down here. We're going to push it over. Don't go through that first little section. You want to push it around like this, and then down, and then onto the platform. I'm also going to grab this Pokeball really quick while I'm here and have repels. Get a TM overheat. Then from here, we're almost done. You want to head back around here and loop up to this staircase. Once again, dodging this trainer. You can get through this Victory Road without battling pretty much any trainers if you do it right. Come over here, pop another repel. I'm going to dodge this guy. I think the best way to do this is by going on the high ground like this, and then coming over this, and then coming around like this. We're going to come over here. We're going to push this boulder down into this little black circle. We're going to fall down into that black circle with it. And now we can push this black circle, push this boulder with strength all the way to the left. I think just directly straight. It will land on a platform. It'll unlock this little rock barricade, and then we can head up that ladder and pretty much make our way directly outside of the cave. Perfect. This should be knocked down. Head over here, go up the staircase, dodge these trainers, head over here, go down this staircase, and we have to fight one trainer. There's one trainer, I think. Just kidding. You can actually dodge him. Perfect. There you go. That is Victory Road in Pokemon Fire Red / Leaf Green and in PokeMMO. I think there's also a secret item over here that I, for whatever reason, remember. There is a Lumberry if you want to come grab that. And then we can go head up to the Elite Four. Make sure to head up here just to go heal really quick and to actually like log it as a place you can fly to. So now we can fly back to the Elite Four whenever we need to. And now we can travel around and truly do whatever we need to do before we're actually ready to fight the Elite Four. Now, people ask me for Elite Four strategies all the time, and I always tell them the same thing. Number one, get a sturdy Stealth Rock setting Pokemon. So I'm going to go ahead and check the GTL for a cheap one. I'm going to head over to Advanced Search. I'm going to scroll down over to Ability. I'm going to go to Sturdy. I'm then going to scroll up to Has Move. I'm going to type Stealth Rock. It doesn't matter what level this Pokemon is because you're really just letting it, you really just want it to sacrifice set up. I can go ahead and grab this. I kind of love this Graveler because it's super cheap. And I can also use it later on. Although I could grab something to set up Sand if that's a kind of weather that would benefit my team. But with my current Pokemon, that's honestly not going to be that beneficial. I like the idea of grabbing this Graveler. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. It's super cheap, 2,200 Pokeyen, 31 attack. It's going to have some other utilities along the way. I'm going to be spending very little Pokeyen here and getting a ton of value. I'm going to be putting away my Butterfree. I no longer need that. And I am also going to be putting away my Pidgey, I think. I might need a teleport Pokemon or something, though, to actually be able to XP and EV train. Now we have our Graveler retrieved from the mail. Now, this is another important thing to talk about because this is a trade Evo Pokemon, so getting a free upgrade into Golem is going to be huge here. And this Pokemon has Stealth Rock and Sturdy. And I didn't really explain why that is so good. So Stealth Rock and Sturdy is so good against the Elite Four because, number one, you get healed after each gym leader. So you're actually able to lead this Pokemon in every single gym leader fight, like Lorelei, you know, Agatha, everybody, right? Lance, your rival, everything, every fight. And you're able to set up Stealth Rocks every time. Stealth Rock is really good against the Kanto Elite Four, especially because there's tons of ice types, which will take 25% damage just from getting switched in. That's a lot of damage. As well as if you picked Venusaur, your opponent, your rival is going to have Charizard, so Charizard's going to take 50% damage. That's right, 50% of his HP just from being brought into the battle. His Lances and your rival's Dragonites will also take tons of HP. Gyarados will take 25% damage. You're doing tons of chip, as well as breaking Focus Ashes, breaking Sturdies. All of this is just super, super powerful. All for just trading one slot on your team, which is relevant, like trading a whole Pokemon slot, but you're getting so much value and it's so cheap to do so. It's a Pokemon you don't even have to train. You could have a level 1 Pokemon in this spot. As long as it has Sturdy and Stealth Rock, it'll get the job done. Now, we have a lot of XP training to do, and there's two options you can sort of pick here. You could go catch a bunch of Pokemon and get 50 owned OT Pokemon, or just buy a couple cheap Pokemon off the GTL and get those Pokedex entries to get your free XP share, or you could buy one off the GTL, which is what I'm going to do, and then you could always sell it back later. So it's never a terrible thing to go ahead and just go buy an item off the GTL. I know when you're new to the game, it feels bad to go spend, you know, I have 103k or whatever. I'm about to spend a huge chunk of that on an XP share, right? However, it's a permanent item. I can get use out of it, get benefits out of it, and then sell it after I'm done if I really need the cash, but you'll probably just end up keeping it. Now, I do think it is important to try to spend as little Pokeyen as possible when trying to beat the storyline, because as long as you can complete it, then, you know, that's all you got to do. Any, like, Pokemon you use to beat the storyline are probably not going to be useful in another manner, unless you get something like my Graveler, for example, which has a 31 attack IV. I can then breed it later on or do something with that. Generally, you want to keep it as cheap as possible, especially with healing items, but you still want to be willing to spend Pokeyen to actually save time, right? So it's a tough balance to get. For example, the best storyline Pokemon, in my opinion, is Hidden Ability Gyarados/Magikarp. However, the cheapest Hidden Ability Gyarados/Magikarp, look at that, 80k for a Magikarp. Gyarados is going to be 40k. You know, we don't have the Pokeyen for that, so I'm just going to look for a non-Hidden Ability Gyarados/Magikarp, try to look for a decent one, and you can find some really, really cheap ones. Let me show you what I mean. This is a perfect example. A 10k Gyarados, Naughty Nature, level 59. I really like that because that is an extremely high level Pokemon. I'm not going to have to spend too much time XP training it. Someone else has probably already used it in a storyline, as you can see, since it's been decently EV trained, especially in attack EVs. This is just a perfect example. It's plus attack. If you look for an adamant one, it's going to be more expensive since I said it's a more objectively better nature. Naughty and Lonely are good enough for a storyline run. Like, obviously, the minus defenses are not great, but as long as you can get a plus attack nature that isn't minus speed, like Brave, for example, this is perfect. Someone clearly used this for a storyline run. Dragon Dance, Waterfall, Crunch, Outrage. This is a perfect example of a Pokemon to buy. So keep in mind, I only spent 12k Pokeyen on Pokemon, right? Now I did also spend 40k on an XP share, but we can always sell that back for later at minimal loss. I'll lose like 5k maybe on the listing fee, but now that we have all this taken care of, let's go XP train a little bit with that new XP share down here at Victory Road. If you aren't familiar, this is a really good spot to go XP train before the Elite Four. It's just really solid XP. It's right here. You can go ahead and pop hordes here. You'll get Marowaks and Sandslashes. Lots of people get their first shiny here in PokeMMO as well. I still need a shiny Sandslash personally, so that would be incredible to see. I do already have a Marowak. You just surf against these things, and usually you can obliterate them. They're very weak, especially defensively, and obviously Surf is super effective against them. Just fantastically placed hordes to help you XP train before the Elite Four. Now, keep in mind, when you're XP training, you don't need all of your Pokemon you're going to XP train on you, so you can feel free to keep a teleport or a fly Pokemon on you. I'm going to go ahead and grab this to save a little bit of time. I am also going to go ahead and buy a PP Max. Now, that is 18k Pokeyen consumed, but it's going to save me a fair bit of time. And if I want to keep using this exact same Blossom in the future for Sweet Sense, I'm going to absolutely get my fair use out of this. Now, PP Max and Sweet Scent is just going to allow you to stay at that cave for a little longer. It'll allow you to do 6 battles instead of 4, which is a pretty significant increase, 50% more encounters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to sit here and grind a fair amount of XP before I'm ready to go ahead and do the Elite Four, and I'll see you guys with however long that takes. I have 49 hours played on this account at the time of recording. Now, most of that was not done during the storyline. Most of that was just sitting on Route 1 grinding for a shiny, because this is the only shinies account. So don't take this as, oh, it took me 50 hours to complete the campaign. It probably took me around 10 or so. I'm going to go ahead and sit here and XP grind. We'll see how long I have to do this for.
Alright, after 5 hours of inefficient grinding, that could have been around 2 or 3 of efficient grinding, all of my Pokemon, except for my Stealth Rock Sturdy Graveler setter, are level 62, which is pretty powerful. So we have our Blastoise with Shell Smash, which are going to set up and be strong. We have our Alakazam with Calm Mind and Twisted Spoon. Our Blastoise is rocking the White Herb to negate the negative effects of Shell Smash at least one time. Charizard, we did go ahead and buy a Charcoal off the GTL. Flare Blitz, Flamethrower, very powerful, level 62. Gyarados, probably the most powerful Pokemon on this team. Dragon Dance plus Waterfall Crunch, leftovers, and then Blossom as a Quiver Dance, Giga Drain. Acid's probably never going to click, but Giga Drain, Quiver Dance, leftovers, also very strong. I really can't encourage you guys enough to just bite the bullet, spend 2 to 3 hours doing some XP training, and make your Elite Four run a lot easier. One last volume check, 1, 2, 3 with the music. There we go. Volume check with the music, 1, 2, 3. Alright, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our Elite Four run and finish the Kanto storyline within PokeMMO. Show you guys what this looks like. We're going to be going up against Lorelei. I'm going to go ahead and obviously lead my Stealth Rock Sturdy Graveler, like I've talked about so much leading up to this point. The ice types are going to take a fair beating due to it, which is really nice. So we just go ahead and click that. Now, to be fair, Cloyster might click. Yup, that's what I was going to say. Icicle Spear here, to be fair, which is a multi-hitting move, which is going to prevent me from setting up my Stealth Rock, which is obviously suboptimal, but we're super okay still. Now, Charizard is kind of an easy play here. I can kind of go ahead and bring him in and go ahead and click Flamethrower. He's going to do enough damage. This thing is a defensive tank. Cloyster, you want to hit it with some sort of special attacking move. There we go. Next up is Lapras. Shouldn't be able to one-shot this thing. This thing is extremely tanky, but I should be able to two-shot it with Flamethrower. That's my best bet here. Ooh, it's going to be 3 shots, but that's okay. Stealth Rock would have made that 2-shot, which is really significant. It doesn't matter how many Pokemon you have left or how much HP you have left. As long as you're able to beat them, that's all that matters. You will get healed after each trainer. Charizard's going to go down there. I'm going to go ahead and take this time to bring in Blossom. Now, I know that this thing's going to have access to Ice Beam or other moves, but it doesn't have access to anything too crazy to be able to hit us. And I also have Quiver Dance, which is going to raise my special defense, making me harder for the Lapras to kill. So it's a good Pokemon to set up against. After 2 Quiver Dances, that's how much damage Lapras did with an Ice Beam. So we're pretty buff here. But you've always got to watch out for those crits. An unfortunate Ice Beam crit was able to take out my Blossom. So now we're definitely in a much worse position, but I'm going to go ahead and safely bring in my Alakazam, who should be able to sweep here with just raw damage. And we return with a nice crit on our Alakazam. That'll definitely even out the playing fields. With Slowbro coming in here, I honestly do want to make a switch over to Gyarados or Blastoise. The issue is this thing probably shouldn't have Thunderball, but it's definitely going to have annoying coverage for my Alakazam. My Alakazam just can't do any damage to it. So I'm going to go for a Scald. A Burn here would honestly be really, really unlucky. Thankfully, we dodge it. I'm going to go ahead and start setting up a D-Dance or two. I could just Crunch off the bat. A Scald would really hurt us, but I don't think the AI will click Scald into Gyarados, but I could be wrong. Yeah, Psychic for more damage, thankfully. Honestly, Psychic is better for us than him spamming Scald for a burn. We're double D-Danced up. Let's not be greedy. I'm going to go ahead and just click Crunch, and thankfully I'm able to one-shot it. A lot went wrong in this fight, and we still should be A-okay. Crunch doing 85% there to Dewgong, healing a little bit with Citrus Berry. As long as we can live one attack, which thankfully we can, we're fine. On to Lorelei's last Pokemon. This is a really good example of how every single thing went wrong in that fight. This fight that possibly could have went wrong, and still without having to use healing items, we were able to defeat Lorelei due to a really powerful team and really big strategy coming into the fight itself. So there we get fully healed, as you can see. Next up is going to be Bruno. I'm going to go ahead and do the Stealth Rock lead yet again, but then come into Alakazam second. Him being the fighting type trainer, we should be able to just spam Psyshocks and Psychics through him and honestly pretty sweep him easily. Alright, we were able to set up our Stealth Rocks here. Now, this is probably the weakest trainer for Stealth Rocks. I'm going to be super honest. Stealth Rocks are probably the least powerful against Bruno, but they're still nice to break a few Focus Sashes if he has them. Alright, with Rocks up, we got Alakazam out. Now I can click Psychic and one-shot everything. Just kidding. That's when he brings in his Steelix. A really good Mon to honestly counter here. I might honestly stay in and still click Psychic and just see how much I can do. 42% on a resist is pretty solid in my opinion. He's going to do 47 in return, but since I outspeed him, I actually do end up beating this Onix unless he gets a high roll. Oof, just kidding. We barely live, but he gets off a Custap Berry Gyro Ball. That's the shenanigans you can expect from the PokeMMO Elite Four, but that's okay. We're still in a really good spot here. I'm going to go Charizard next and prepare some Air Slashes for a lot of these fighting types, but first we'll just go for a quick Flamethrower. Machamp comes in next. I'm going to go ahead and Air Slash this guy, doing 76%. A flinch would be huge. There's a 30% chance. Citrus Berry is nice for his heal. Goes for a Stone Edge and hits it, obliterating the Zard. Once again, don't be afraid to use all your Mons. A lot of my Mons are dying, more than usual when I do these runs, but that's okay. It's still going to be plenty fine. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Gyarados and probably just go for the Waterfall off the bat. It'd be nice to go for a D-Dance here, but it's just not worth risking it. I know that Waterfall should do enough damage to KO. Poliwrath comes in next. This is a tough one for me to answer, honestly, on Gyarados. I probably do just go ahead and click Outrage. I could click something like D-Dance here, but I don't want this thing to have the possibility of setting up with a possibility of Belly Drum or something crazy. Superpower not doing much and lowering his defense. That's good for me. Alright, Hitmonlee is the last Pokemon, and I'm locked into Outrage, and there he goes. Easy peasy fight. Bruno's probably the weakest one of all leaders, to be honest. With Bruno defeated, we move on. Head over to Agatha next, the Ghost-type trainer. Same situation, same strategy as Bruno, pretty much. Stealth Rock is shockingly good against Agatha because she has a lot of Focus Sash Pokemon. A lot of these frail Ghost types love to run Focus Sash. Alright, Gengar was taken out by Alakazam, but not before taking out my Gyarados, and then Crobat's going to come in next, which took some really solid chip from the Stealth Rocks, but man, I'm kind of getting obliterated by Agatha, I'm not going to lie. U-turn taking out my Alakazam there. Now, since they have more chip damage on the switch in when it comes back in, the Crobat, which is really nice, but I'm surprised. My speed tiers are kind of getting toughed out here. A lot of Agatha's Pokemon are just super fast. But now it's time to go Bortles and Shell Smash, and hopefully he should be able to sweep the rest with his nice speed increase is going to be huge. Hopefully no poison here. A poison here would definitely be brutal. Thankfully, we dodge it. Alright, we do have one Shell Smash up now. I'm going to go ahead and click Surf into the Weezing and KO him, thankfully. Next up is Miss Magius, who will also get surfed. Only doing 82% damage there, unfortunately. Honestly, yeah, that's unfortunate. A Thunderbolt in return, not doing too much damage to us, thankfully. That White Herb kind of saving our butt there. We can go ahead and take out Miss Magius in return. Arbok coming in next. So the last few Pokemon are Arbok and Crobat. I should be able to surf through these guys. That Stealth Rock chip definitely helping me get into some damage rolls. Lastly is Crobat. Now he probably... We'll see if he's faster than me. I am thankfully faster after a Shell Smash. Beautiful. So that is Agatha taken care of. Next up is probably the hardest fight in my opinion. Usually it depends on what starter you picked, whether the hardest fight is going to be Lance or your rival. But this is Lance coming up, the dragon type trainer. I also don't have any ice type moves for him. Sometimes, I think in my Nuzlocke, for example, I bought an ice beam TM, or I pursued an ice beam TM somewhere in the storyline. I couldn't buy stuff on the GTL on that account. But I would get an ice beam TM and I put on my Kindra or something like that, for example. So having an ice beam attack, honestly, for Lance, if you are losing to him repeatedly, can be really beneficial. But here is our fight against him. He's going to lead with Gyarados. I'm going to go ahead and get my Stealth Rocks up. Stealth Rock is the most powerful, probably against Lance. Also against the rival once again, if the rival picked Charizard, but even if it didn't. Please no flinch here. No, I willed it into action, unfortunately. Oh man, that sucks. Oh, that actually is a huge bummer. This is why having Quick Claw, if you own one, I just didn't own one, having Quick Claw on your, or Custap Berry, honestly, on your Graveler is kind of a really nice backup option. Man, not getting Stealth Rock here actually sucks, but we'll be okay still. That's the best fight for Stealth Rocks. I'm going to go in the Gyarados of my own, go ahead and get an Intimidate proc off, which is always nice to weaken him a little bit, and then go ahead and set up Dragon Dances against the opposing Gyarados. He goes for a Power Whip, crazily enough, doing 23% damage, but 23% for a move with like 75% accuracy. If he misses, that's going to buy me a huge turn. I can go ahead and set up pretty freely here. 24% damage there. I'm even going to go for a third D-Dance here, to be totally honest, just in case, because he's doing so little damage to me with the whip, and he obviously could miss it. Doesn't miss a single Power Whip, though, of course. That's the PokeMMO AI curse. All right, let's go ahead and then go for probably just Waterfall here, honestly, with Stab and Flinch chance. Nah, I think Crunch is better. We're going to click it, 100% KO the Gyarados. Dragonite comes in next. Now, this is a tough guy, honestly. I could just click Outrage here. It might be worth it. I don't like the idea of being confused here after so many Dragon Dances, but I think it's worth it. I think one-shotting the Dragonites, and he has a bunch of other Dragon types in the back. I think one-shotting the Dragonite consistently is just really important there versus risking it on a Crunch. I probably do one-shot after 3 Dragon Dances, but I'm okay with this play. He might have a Focus Sash here. No, thankfully does not. Outrage is only 90 base power, I believe, in PokeMMO, which is one of the main balancing changes they have to watch out for. It is not nearly as powerful. I don't normally recommend running Outrage, but this one just happened to have it on it already. Ooh, hitting myself in confusion there, doing insane damage and it going down. That was unlucky, but that's the downside of Outrage. I probably should have gone for the Crunch, to be totally honest, looking backwards, but it only has 2 Pokemon left, so we're doing okay. I'm going to make the easy play over to Bortles here and just go for a quick Surf. Once again, the Stealth Rocks would have gone absolutely bonkers. Against this team, dude, his entire team, Gyarados, Dragonite, Aerodactyl, all would have taken 25% chip damage. Charizard taking 50%. What is his last Pokemon? Let's see it here. Kingdra is the final Mon. Now, honestly, Kingdra might be the hardest Mon on this whole team. Kingdra is a tough Pokemon to deal with. It is only only weak to other Dragon-type attacks in PokeMMO, so this is honestly one of the most annoying, like, powerfully typed Pokemon in the game, in my opinion. Which is why it's so good to use yourself. If you've been using a Kingdra on your run, you're doing a great job. I highly recommend it. Kingdra is fantastic for Nuzlocks as well, because it's just a super safe pick. I'm sure to bring my hard-hitting Alakazam here to make sure to take care of it. I want to do as much damage as possible. Click Psychic. That'll take care of it. That is Lance defeated. Lastly, we have the rival. Smooth and easy fight so far. Not my first time doing this, but I'm excited to have another account completed with another storyline. Thankfully, I will be able to set up Stealth Rocks here against my rival. That's awesome to see. At least, like, I had them up against... I think I only got Stealth Rocks against, like, 2 fights, unfortunately. That is uncommon. You usually should have them up against more fights. Lorelei happens a fair bit. You know, usually she does lead Cloyster and takes you out. If you can get Stealth Rocks up against her, obviously it's very good, but not getting it up against her is not the end of the world. That Fire Fang or whatever flinch was unfortunate, though. That's uncommon. Since the rival has led Blastoise, I'm honestly going to go ahead and just go into Blossom and go for a Quiver Dance. He is going to have Ice Beam doing 50%, but after 1 Quiver, I'll be tankier and I might outspeed. I'll go for a big Giga Drain here. And the Leftovers is honestly going to keep me from getting 2-hit KO'd, which is super nice. Here's the Giga Drain. I am faster, doing 74% damage. Not enough to one-shot, but healing a ton. And proccing his Citrus Berry. Getting rid of berries like that and items on your opponent's Pokemon in the Elite Four is really important. After Blastoise, in comes Flareon, which I'm obviously not going to be able to one-shot here. Yeah, it's going to be a tough fight, unfortunately, but that's okay. I'll just switch in something else to help take care of this thing. Flare Blitz doing 88 to me, but it's just got a lot of recoil damage here, so honestly, I'm okay with that. Blastoise and Flareon. Fire Gem Flare Blitz from the Flareon. Honestly, I'm okay with that tank. We'll switch in Gyarados for an attack lower on the Intimidate, and we can go ahead and set up a Dragon Dance or two against this thing. Flareon's clicking Double Edge, so honestly, I don't mind just double D-dancing in front of it, letting it die to recoil, and then being able to attack whatever comes in afterwards here. Next up is Rhyperior. This thing definitely would have had Sturdy, but now it doesn't, thankfully. Pretty big defensive wall. Thankfully, we're able to do enough damage still with the Waterfall to KO it. That Stealth Rock hitting it was pretty huge. Next up is Pidgeot, taking 25% from the Stealth Rocks, giving us some more damage range. I'm going to go ahead and click Waterfall against it, KO it. 2 Pokemon remaining. One of them should be Alakazam. There is Executor. Executor can be a pretty tough Pokemon to remove. Thankfully, I do have Crunch access on the Gyarados, which will take it out after Stealth Rock damage. And then finally, the last Pokemon, I think, is Alakazam, unless he switched it out with something else. There it is, Alakazam, and I should be faster after 2 D-Dances. I'm going to go ahead and click Crunch, and now we are the Pokemon League Champion. That's your first region completed in PokeMMO. Hopefully, this guide was helpful to you guys. You get 3,500 BP from beating him. Hopefully, this guide not only just guided you through, you know, the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green storylines, because there's tons of guides out there on that. Hopefully, it taught you something specific about the PokeMMO run, whether the item locations, the map, the Pokemon to pick up, the IVs, and other powerful things. We get our little... This is actually my first time seeing this. I've never seen this. This animation is new. Wow, so that's cool. I've never seen this animation. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. What a cool way to end it. Like this video if it was helpful. That's really the best way to support it, honestly. Dislike if not, that's okay. Met at level 5, that's awesome. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos if you're enjoying your time here. If you're enjoying PokeMMO, if you want to get sucked into the game a bit more, subscribe. I upload videos every single day. I also stream Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord down below, and if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, and Twitch subs, PayPal/Venmo donations are all super helpful and support the channel a ton. Apologies if the audio quality was a little bit lower for the Elite Four section. I've been doing this on a trip, kind of been away from home recently, so recording this on my laptop, but you know what? We still get the work done. We still get some videos out and get some, hopefully some helpful content out to you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I will be seeing you guys on the flip side. Peace, Reno.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the entire video all the way to the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope it was a positive asset to your day. And I also want to quickly say extra thank you to everybody whose name is on this list and goes above and beyond and allows me to do what I do. Thank you very much. Have a good one.